G'day, everybody. Hopefully, everybody is well. Enjoying your beautiful Saturday, Sunday, whatever you may be in this beautiful world of ours. Welcome to Wacky Weekend. Let's say a quick hi to everybody that's here. I see Wigwag. G'day, you're first. You want the cookie? You got to go and fight Pixie over it, okay? She's got the cookies. If she lets you have her share, you can have it. You got to get past her first. G'day, Randall. How are you? James Gordon, how are you? Nice to see you in here. Train Man, welcome back. My good buddy Anthony is here in the house. G'day, Anthony. How are you, buddy?
I'm peachy keen and ducky fine.
Oh, sounds good. Mystic, how are you, buddy?
How are you?
Let me get quickly down my list. Curly, how are you? Kyle, nice to see you in here. Valley 56, how are you? Dave BNSF, how are you? Welcome in. Well, been a very interesting week. Been sweating it out trying to get this top section of mine going. As a teaser, you guys could all see. Let me just try to get it back up. I finally got it. Finally got it to work. Is that the right camera? There we go. I've got all the automation running. I rang up UPS yesterday, or not yesterday, Friday, whinging about their service. That the package is taking too long to get in. It's been sitting in Sydney for a good week. And I told him that this type of service, I should have had the package sent over from the US to Australia by FedEx. Surprise and hold, they'd done a special delivery on a Saturday morning. And all I needed was my track for the expansion and the decoder. Excuse me. Oh, you can't see it now, but there's a point that's sitting underneath this train here. It arrived yesterday, so all the track power, not the signals, just the track power for this top level is now complete. I've done a little bit of test running yesterday afternoon, and I realised down at the far end, right down the other end, I need to change the radiuses. So I will be doing that after the show. Hang on a minute. I have a bit of an issue with one of my trains. It's not been detected. Hang on. Okay, hang on. 1, 2. Oh, you're on the wrong track. Hang on. You're on the wrong track. Okay.
Hey, Rick is here.
That's better. So I've got it all running on automation right now. So as always, g'day, Kevin. How are you, buddy? Hopefully you're well over in New Zealand there. So at the moment, it's working on train order. I've done it again. Hang on. Why did you do that? Okay. Something is amiss.
Gonna have to crack the whip, Artie. Get these locos running correct.
Something has gone amiss here. You're not on that track. You're on the other track. How's that swapped around? I'll have to have a look at that anyway.
The computer's taken over. It's doing its own thing.
I think so. But anyway, everything Everything was running fine last night. And everything was running fine just before the show. We know how things go as soon as you put the camera on things.
Tell me about it.
They decide they don't want to play the game. I have realised been actually quite busy the last few days with this whole layout room. I've been rearranging everything in here because this desk is going to be going out next couple of days. I know I've been talking about it, but I tell you what, even for a small room, and I think a lot of other modelers here will equate to it, you just do not realise how much crap you accumulate, even during a little construction like this, how much stuff you accumulate. And you keep putting them in every nook and cranny, but when you got to go to move it and tidy it up, man, I've already filled up the garbage bin just about outside, and the recycle bin is a chocolate block full with cardboard boxes and papers, and just from this room. But it's ready to be rearranged. I did notice I have not going to have enough point motors, so I've got to go up to Sydney on Tuesday to get some more point motors and a few more bits of straight track. I was going to start the construction in here on the week this weekend. However, I come to an obstacle. The room light above me, I was going to change the light bulbs around. I was going to put brighter light bulbs in, and to make it look like daylight in here. Basically, I've got these light bulbs. I take the light cover off, and of course, I've gone up to have a look and went to change it. You wouldn't dream of it. We got these clip-on light bulbs throughout the whole house except for this here. These are those old screw-in bulbs. So I don't have enough cash at the moment, so I've got to go and get some tomorrow morning when I get paid. I got to change that before I do the layout, because if I do the layout in here, I'm not going to get up there. I've got these LED ones and I'm going to put up there, so it's going to brighten the room up. I won't need extra lighting for the top deck. The timber's all pre-cut. I've still got to finish off doing the curve track, which I'm going to do later. So when I get back from Sydney, bang, I'm getting stuck into this. Because there are some track pieces that I need out of Sydney before I can actually really start laying the track. I will start doing the timber work after that light bulb's finished. Hopefully, I've got a big full day tomorrow with 2 appointments and whatnot. Tell you what, I'm getting sick of these. I'm getting tired of these appointments, but I've got no choice. I've got roughly about 10 days. Hang on a minute, guys. Sorry about that. I've got roughly about 10 days to get the main section up and running. Because then they'll give me a few more days to get settled ready for the operation. I made a little bit of a boo-boo up here. I used up pretty much all my block detectors. They need to be put in anyway. So I'm not going to have enough from in here. So I need to order some more. There's only 2 left in this country, so the rest I've got to get from the United States again. So yeah, that's what it is. bottom layer of the round house. Let me just move my camera, the laptop. I've got the curtains up. I tell you what, that level there really brightens, it really darkens the room. G'day, Andy. How are you?
Yeah.
There's the round house. I've still got to do the
Hello,
reinstall
Andy
the tracking
Johnson.
now. The lights inside the round house is working. You can just see. Turn it off. You can see the lights are on in the round house. Oh man, was that an effort and a half? Thinking I had all my polarities right, but I didn't. Fun of modeling, I suppose. So all I've got to do now is put another track down in here, and it's giving an extra slot to put a storage track in here. You can never have enough storage in the diesel shed, so pretty much.
No, you can't.
Once I put them two tracks in, this section down here is done. Yeah, scenery. Sorry about the guys. Don't you dare play up now. So the scenery is. I'll get to the scenery part of it later on. All I want to do now is concentrate getting the main 4x8 running, so the people from down the bottom here can make it up to the top, or vice versa. The people from the top can make it down the bottom, because it's a long leap down. And I suppose I could do the Katoomba train in there. That runs on cables. That's one train I'm going to take you and Joyce on for a ride up in the Blue Mountains there, Anthony. It's our steepest railways in the country. Yeah. And I believe it is the shortest line in the country for its grade. Okay. Yeah. But you'll like it. Anyway, so that's what's going on. The layout's coming together. Today, all the other people are in the background too. So I'm slowly getting there with it. Like with everything, there are some. It's Kyle's. Is that Kyle's birthday?
No, Wigwag's birthday is tomorrow, according to the chat.
Oh, Wigwag, happy birthday to you! But we'll have to go up the road and get you a cupcake. But you'll have to come over and get it before the Rover gets it. And if you're going to get drunk, make sure you invite us so we can take photographs of you making a fool of yourself. And how's your week been, Anthony? Hopefully you had a good week.
God, I don't even remember this week.
Now worked out.
It was a very, very active. My son came into town yesterday with his fiance to take care of more wedding stuff, and it seems like finally they're on track and they've got everything lined up and ready to go. That's been a stress. My son's getting married in first week of October. And have you mailed out your invitations? No. Have you set up a bridal registry? No. You're planning on getting married? Yeah. Okay. Just as long as, But, it's his first time, I guess. We got to give him some room. But, boy, I don't recall being so procrastinative on when Joyce and I were getting married. Well, hello, Alan. Just about ready to go to sleep. So
G'day, Alan. How are you, buddy?
So my lord needed a little bit of warm milk before he retires to the bedchambers, does he?
I think he's trying to say our show's boring.
Well, he's almost going to sleep, so we're here to finish him off. Because if there's one thing Artie and I can do, it's finish you off.
Yeah. One way or another, we can finish you off.
Bald, bearded bastards whose names begin with A.
Yeah. And take your choice.
We have
you got the one that starts with AN or the one with the AR. So, yeah. He's been probably watching the girls' football. That's what he's been watching.
I've been watching that too.
Pardon?
I watched the World Cup. I watched the Women's World Cup. I watch it more than I watch the Men's World Cup.
Yeah, well, at least they got it on a decent hour here. Sort of. Excuse me.
I've lost all mercy. I don't think I've lost mercy. I have deep sympathy. My wife is still working both. I have sympathy. I finally escaped.
But I see you guys are enjoying yourselves with the going out with the kayaking on your Facebook. I've been going on there a little bit.
Yeah, we went out kayaking last Saturday and Sunday, and then we left town and we were out of town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we went kayaking on Tuesday while we were out of town. And then we watched tornadoes and storms fly over while we were coming home. Good night, Alan. Thanks for popping in.
Okay, Alan. Jesus, see, we work wonders. See how quick we work? You have a good night, Alan. You take care of yourself, buddy. Nice to see you anyway.
But I did manage to clean my I managed to clean my tracks. Although my live feed yesterday, something knocked out the internet in the neighborhood while I was streaming yesterday, and we came back, but for some reason the second half disappeared off YouTube. I don't know why, but the first half is there, but the second hour and a half is missing. It disappeared off YouTube. I don't know why. It was the better half.
Well, we've been losing power here. We've been losing power here too, but it's not because of bad weather or anything. We're just having young youths hooning around the streets and knocking out the power lines.
Oh,
and taking out the power poles completely. What was it? Friday night. It was that quiet. You can hear the guy going up and down, and he hit one of the main poles that knocks all the power around here, and that was about 11 o'clock at night. And as again, oh no more. I went to the dentist this week. Just get a checkup to see how I'm going for me. How's things healing up? So I should have some new teeth after my operation. But yeah, me watching you doing the kayaking, it's almost giving me to the.
Hello,
g'day, Les. How are you, buddy? You missed the show, bud.
That is Joyce's biggest. Kayaking is Joyce's biggest sporting love right now. She loves to get on the rivers, and we're not whitewater kayaking. We are, we're lazy river kayakers. We whitewater raft, but we aren't skilled enough in kayaking to try kayaking through rapids, although our newest kayak is rated up to class 4 rapids, which is pretty darn good.
Well, if you just want to, I mean, this is something we all have to discuss later on. If you just want to, I can ask because I don't have a kayak here, but if you're just interested, I can talk to my physiotherapist. He's got 4. We can borrow it off him, and we'll go for a run down around the lake and the estuaries down here. As I said last time, I haven't done it since I was a kid. When I was at high school, that's how long it's been. And we used to just down from me here. I mean, the lake is 2-minute walk. But from here, there's 1, 2, 3 little islands where we used to go around to. We used to kayak around, and particularly during our sports day, we used to kayak out to there, and we used to hide. And it took us like about 10 minutes to get it, 5, 10 minutes to get out there. We used to just hide out there.
Goodbye, Kevin.
I used to love doing it over in. I learned how to kayak and canoeing in Bosnia at my uncle's place.
Okay.
And I tell you what, it was interesting, especially trying to going up rapids, and where you got the little waterfalls where it comes down, and you get to learn how to get up on that. And I tell you what, that took a bit of an effort. To get your canoe up over the rapids. I have 96 locos. Any idea?
No, wait, wrong. Sorry.
You got 96 locos? Yeah, I got about 200. I was looking at
I think last year at this time I had about
Rainbow Bells.
16 or 17, and I think I've doubled it. I have bought so many locos in the last 12 months. It's ridiculous. I do have suggestions, but they're all German, Chris, so I don't know if that'll help you out. Crap, I'm writing a song.
Well, depends what you want. Hobby shop, yeah, that's a good start. Wigwag's got 2 logos, a 4-piece of rolling stock. Wigwag, you're the champion, bud. You are the champion. You got the most. I mean, at least you don't have to worry about finding where you're going to put it. And then the thing is, when you got to try to find space for all the crap that you accumulated. But there has been an upside of me cleaning up the room. Excuse me.
You found Jimmy Hoffa?
No, I haven't found him.
Okay.
I was actually trying to find the screw that I dropped from when I was pulling the cover off the top there. I never found it. Excuse me. But if you guys remember when I was kip bashing that crane, the Athens crane, and I lost a pulley wheel for it, and I could not find it anywhere in this room. I even when I vacuum with a little canister so I can catch everything up and whatnot, hoping to pick it up. Well, I found it last night. I had a little totes down underneath here, or containers, totes, I think you Americans call it, on the table here, and it's all it fell on the mat and rolled to the back. It was on the carpet at all. It was on that damn thing. So now I've got to remember where I put that crane. But it's all right. I put it in here, so I'm not going to lose it. As long as
famous last words.
The rabbit digging for Jimmy in the backyard. Actually, no, she's not. Well, actually, she was kind of trying to do some concrete breaking yesterday in the corner. She found this little, there's this grass, a type of grass and weed that she enjoys eating, and it's starting to shoot up next to the fence and the concrete. If you remember, Liz, where you were sitting when you came over to my place, have you had that concrete in the fence? She's actually found a spot there, and she's trying to get down into it. Oh, man, it was funny, and that'd be right. It didn't have the found the pulley and lost the crane. That's right, Dave. The crane's down underneath here somewhere, but I'm not taking it out. But I mean, you have a look at.
Well, if Randall's still here, he can suggest Chris Chris wants another US diesel.
In the background there, you'll see the UP cars. I actually found that in an unopened box underneath my layout.
Wait a minute.
Who knows
Now,
what else I'm going to find?
Wait, Artie. Did those Picos come in that box? How can it be an unopened? How could it be an unopened box if something that wasn't originally in the box was found in the box? Somebody opened the box to put them in.
It was in the shipping box, okay? It was in the shipping box, an unopened shipping box. G'day, Robin. How are you?
Hey, Robin. Good day.
Yeah.
Morning.
And
well, Chris, what about a German class 218, a classic 218?
I was also thinking about. Yeah, that'd be nice. I would like, if I ever get enough money down the track, because that costs a lot here in Australia, but I'd love to get the old 50 or 52 class steam engine, the 210 steam engine, with a rake of passenger cars. The reason why I want to get that is that was my very first ever steam train ride I ever went on, and that was in Bosnia. It was only a banking engine then. I went for 2 trips with it going up the steep climb. He pushed a freight train up, and then he pushed the passenger train up first, and then it done the freight train going up. And I was only 10 years old, and I thought I was cool. But I tell you what, the whistle on that 52 class, hang on.
And he's gone. And he's back.
Sorry about that. I've now in the 52 class that I had in, and it was known as Yugoslavian Railways. Like most train whistles or whatnot are run by a cord. In the 52 class steam engine, it was actually a lever. And I tell you what, for a 10-year-old, that was hard work, but it was cool. And the view going across the bridges, I mean, you don't realise, like the girder bridges that you were going over the top of it. It's like, whoa, hang on, where's the track? It was like the train was flying over in the middle of the air, and I'm like, yeah, that's a long way down. But they used the banking steam engines back then to, particularly the passenger trains, to maintain its speed going up the mountain. I will one day go back over there and explore the line. I suppose being over there, that's why I fell in love with doing mountain railways and just doing mountains and hills. Plus, it makes it easier to do this. I'm never going to go double deck again. Never. It's a lot of work in it. A lot of work. G'day, Lehigh. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you in here.
Ian, how are you?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how this here is going to turn out the main section, because I'll have to move away from my original plan. Of having a hidden yard, because when I looked at the space that I got in between here and to what I want to do, it's like the time is going to be short, and and it's just going to be too much work. I want to get some trains running. It's nice going backwards and forwards, but just on the 10 feet of track like this, one can get bored pretty quick. So I just want to add an extra bit of element into it. I should get it done within the 10 days, get the track laid and run. The way I do my wiring, I can still have it running. I've got enough block detectors to have one train automate, or I'll just run them manually. So yeah, it's been interesting. And the other thing I found was I found my missing ESU decoder. So there's two things that I found cleaning up. Oh yeah, and they're not cheap either. They're about nearly $70. I knew I had a spare one floating around somewhere, and yeah, I actually found it. It was in those drawers, in those get your fingers right in those drawers there. It's amazing what you find, what you're not looking for it. Now, I haven't been looking for the $1 million, but it never popped up. But I think $1 million is not enough here now. We need at least two. Not being greedy, just the house price is so expensive. I'll do a quick invite if anybody wants to come up for a little bit.
Interesting. See,
now, I believe you said you.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Okay. No, they're talking about Rapido here. Rapido is, I watch channels, and Rapido might be one of the most bipolar kits out there. I know there's always people who love a certain brand, brand loyal, and some people just hate certain brands. But I have heard channels just bash Rapido for quality control and so forth, especially their UK stuff. And then there are other people, Canadian, and it's a Canadian company, if I remember correctly. And then there are other people that, Rapido's the best. Did Artie freeze? Yes, Artie has frozen. When a boy wants a train, he means Lionel trains. Does he?
Now, was that me lagging or was that you lagging?
You lagged. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, give me a
But
second.
you definitely froze. Hello, Jason.
Hang on, let me go and see if the rabbit hasn't gone to the main connection.
Uh-oh. That is one pesky rabbit when you think about it. That Wescally rabbit. Well, hello, Randall Ellison. How are you?
Hey, Anthony. Doing pretty good.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Welcome in. Glad to have you.
Oh, yeah.
No, she's not pesky. She's just an attention seeker. G'day, Randall.
Hey, Artie.
Okay, yeah, I know. Now I know what it was.
No, Anthony was talking about Rapido being probably one of the most bipolar brands out there. Yeah, people either love them or they hate them. So,
I know the UK stuff they make, the 00 stuff. Most of the UK channels I watch are very critical of Rapido.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with them. I've got two of their B36-7s, and they've both been really, really good engines.
What I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do.
I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode. People just keep blipping in, blipping out.
I haven't purchased any Rapido stuff. They're just too expensive.
Silly rabbit, tricks are illegal except in certain red light districts.
Tricks up. Oh, don't you worry about the tricks with the kids, Trey, man. I tell you what, she's got all the kids freaked out. They come up to the fence. She plays all innocent like, and next minute she charges for the fence, and they're like, "Oh, help!" But see, like the 50 and the 52 class, the 210 German engine. The dealer up here nearest to us, he's selling it for $580 for that engine. And for $580, it can stay on the shelf. I never forget when he had, I never forget when he had the AC 6000, the BLI 6000, the one with the QSI chip, the early one. He was selling for $700. Well, you can pick them up in the United States for $2. But with the Rapido, I haven't had any yet. I was interested in some, but no, I didn't get any. They're just too expensive.
Yeah, they are a little bit on the pricey side, unless you shop around. If you go somewhere like Lombard or Trailland Hobbies, you can find Rapido stuff for roughly right around the same price as Athearn or some of the others. But,
so what are you going to show us?
well, I was going to show you this B36. You got to kind of get a look at. Now, this is the Santa Fe Kodachrome one.
It's invisible.
Well, I haven't got it out yet.
Okay. Okay, you haven't got it.
I was going to say, is that Wonder Woman's new train?
That's probably not a bad idea to create something like that, Artie. We may have to do something about that in the future.
Hello,
Well,
Marty.
I have been on Wonder Woman's plane. I'll tell you what. G'day, Marty. How are you, buddy?
I can't wait for the story for this one.
Yeah. Well, every time I go to the US, I end up jumping. She's got a plane flying for a couple of types of planes flying for Delta Airlines, don't you? It often pops in the. Hang on.
There it is.
Hello, Robin.
Oh, that is sharp. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's a good looking engine.
Is that the lighting, or is there a little bit of red on the grills?
That could be a little bit. No, it's actually got red on the grills, but
okay, it is red.
I'll fix my camera rail, zoom in a little more on that, so because it's.
I wanted to get the CX.
Yeah, there we go.
I wanted to get the CX ones, but I never got them.
So yeah, that is the Santa Fe Kodachrome scheme, and that is a scheme that was painted for the. For those who don't know, there's may not know this scheme. This is painted for the what was the ended up being the failed Southern Pacific Santa Fe merger. So what they did, they would paint them. They painted them where this part of the engine was in Southern Pacific red, the top was black, and then the cab and nose was painted Santa Fe yellow with this style logo. And the way the S and the F are spaced, that's so they could add the P and S for the SPSF. And then on the side here, the Santa Fe slid forward so they could add the SP on the side later. And depending on what videos you watch, there were some 400 engines painted this way between Southern Pacific and Santa Fe.
Just let me ask a question to Valley 56. You want some Australian locos? What scale and what era? Because there is a company, the NR class. You got SDS hobby models here in Australia and Ossition that's got the NRs. You can shop around, you can still get some, but the Aboriginal schemes and some of the other ones, they go like hotcakes. Yeah.
And also it's kind of tough to tell because the lighting's not that good, but these engines also had red number boards as well with white numbers.
Yeah, I was going to get a couple of the CSX ones out of that.
I'm going to shine this flashlight on and it'll show up a little better. There you go. There's a look at it.
Okay, Jason. But they're beautiful engine, they're beautifully detailed, and that's sort of
they are. They look good. They sound good too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I was just going to say the real selling point with this engine is this beacon right here, because unlike most manufacturers with their beacons where they just have one single bulb, this beacon here has 4 LEDs inside of it, and they flash in a pattern like a real Strata-Light beacon.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask about that, but I don't think I will now.
What the flashes?
To give you some idea how big this beacon is, right there is the end of a small hobby screwdriver.
Oh my goodness!
That's how small that beacon is.
Has anyone
it's almost
seen that? I'm amazed with the technology how it's gone. I've seen how they got those little beacons work and how it revolved. The light inside revolves around. I'm like, how? How do they get that done in that little tiny little thing like that to make it look like it's actually a revolving light inside it?
And I think Rapido sells this beacon as a separate part. I remember watching one of their videos, and they mentioned something about having this as a separate part. So if a hobbyist wanted to purchase just the beacon kit alone to use on other engines, other manufacturers' engines.
Well, bugger putting it on an engine. I'll tell you what, I can put them on my cranes. They'll look good on my cranes and my truck with the oversized truck. Put a little battery underneath it. They'll go good.
But we are living for a lot of the negatives that we can talk about with tech. In many hobbies, if not all hobbies, the tech revolution is drastically altering. Let's just talk about in the train world. 3D printing has exploded, and it's forcing companies to adjust detailing and how they print and how they mass produce. The electric decoder, computer technology is really allowing people to become very creative and how realistic they make the things. 3D rotoscoping, which started with action figures a few years ago. Now it's down where you can do HO and even N scale figures of actual people that you get. I mean, you can now buy relatively cheap 3D scanning cameras anywhere from, and I say cheap, but anywhere from $200 to $700 for a cheap one, and do your own home 3D scanning, kind of like what a couple of the companies in the UK and Bernard at Mini Prints does. Now he has a definitely higher grade camera than that, but you can buy them and scan, and it immediately creates the STL code that you then convert to a G code to put in your 3D printer. So, I mean, the tech is just exploded, and it is to our advantage. But of course, because a lot of this tech is new, it's going to drive prices up a bit until it levels out.
But yeah, you talking about how four things have come. Even though these are two different types of engines, but you can see the level of detail versus this Athearn Blue Box and then the Rapido engine.
But just have a look. But yeah, that's right. But you're having a look at the handrails. Like you actually getting a chain link inside the plastics now, molded inside the plastic.
Well, see the Rapido, they actually use a high. I believe they use metal handrails on these engines. So.
But that's why I'd like to get a Chinese wife, you see, so she can do little fiddly bits like that for me, because they're really good in getting those little chain links all together. That's why that's quick so much, I think, too. I better behave myself. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, quit while you're ahead, Artie.
Yeah.
Quit while you're behind, Artie. No.
Yeah, that's one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh,
But when you look at it, the detail. But look, we all put crap on them. But at the end of the day, look at the work that they do. I mean, it's very repetitious and repeated, and they're repeating it time and time and time again. But we've got to thank them for look at the detail that they do to these models. I mean, look at that repeater one, all that fine detailing in there. I mean, we as modelers ourselves know how frustrating it can be, but here they are pumping them out by hundreds, and they're doing it over and over and over again, and they're almost faultless.
If you don't want that blue box one, Randall, I'll give you my address if you want to send it over to me, mate. I need the mix.
and see that this Saturn blue box here, this is a custom painted and decaled engine.
Oh,
This isn't even really what you'd say a fully stock Saturn blue box.
Well, you can keep the body.
It's missing a truck side frame. That's because it broke off. But
that's almost in split rock colors.
yeah, I mean, different name, but
oh man, we can just send it down to Los Angeles, and some of the locals down there will paint over the name.
Yeah, we could just do it. We just do a quick patch job on it.
Okay, ANC, take care, bud. You look after yourself, buddy.
All right, take care, Eric.
Eric, yeah. But they are a nice engine. I would like to get a pair with the Amtrak arrow on them for my Amtrak passenger trains that I've got.
You see right there, it's got an actual chain. I don't actually break
that's what I'm talking about. I mean, how much work has that gone into putting that on, and how many of them did they do?
I'll be truthful with you. I could never do this, Artie. If I was building an engine like this, I could never put details like this on a locomotive.
Yeah, but you have a look at how many did they do?
Yeah.
Those couple of ladies or whatever it is that put them on there, I'll tell you what, they've got amazing hands when you look at when they do the fine detail like that. I mean, I'll take them out to dinner.
Yeah, I would. To be truthful, I would not want their job, especially with the way a lot of people scrutinize these locomotives, the way they're done.
Well, let me see you. Let me see you do them. I mean,
that's just what I'm saying, though. I could never do something like this. So,
Marty's got it right. Hey, he's on the click. Tangerine and grey, like colours. Maybe tangerine and black, but not grey. It was actually black. They look good in tangerine. I reckon they would. I need to get a couple of find out some blue box and do them up into my freight fleet colours. Surf and do first. No, I think they deserve something a bit more than that, Leon. But I mean, seriously, you have a look when I mean, how many of those engines did Repeater would have made? They would have made at least about 2,000-3,000 of them. At least. And then you got your freight cars, and then you got. It's just amazing. Just amazing what they do. And I was just seeing what, and I gave her a little bit of hand when she'd done the N scale 82s. the work that gone into that. Yeah, they were great detailed, but when you look at the details in me stuff, it's very, very fine detail in it.
Yeah.
Just because you can't get enough Kodachrome, there's the Atlas U36C, but you can see right there too just how different the details are on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably, what would you say, already mid to late 90s, maybe around
Late
2000.
90s. Yeah, about late
Yeah.
90s it would be. Yeah.
I think it's probably late 90s because this was kind of when they started getting into DCC. But even then, you can see the difference in the details.
Good night, Train Man.
Good night, Train Man. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Jason. Scenery is where the cost is, all the fine detail parts.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I've got one tote in here, just not even. I don't even think I hit the tip. Here we are. Speak of the devil, here he is. I've got some detail parts in here, but to get fine detailing and everything else onto your layout, it's a bottomless pit.
Nice. Those are very cool, Jason. Sorry, Jason just sent me some pictures.
Okay.
I can't film to you all. No, I'm sorry.
Anthony, who makes the most detailed job?
Yeah, I was, we're talking about detail, and I was just going to show, I can get myself back here. My world is different because I do continental trains, which tend to be higher price to begin with. But what I'm going to show you, this is a low to mid range. This is by a German company called Pico. And Pico actually was an East German company, but Pico makes excellent product. Their high-end stuff is as good as anybody. Their low-end stuff, their cheap stuff looks good, but isn't necessarily the best. But this is about a $220 loco, which $220, $240 loco. This is, in my world, this would be considered with decoder sound and light functions, that's relatively inexpensive. So, but you look at the coloring.
Mm-hmm.
The detail.
That is intricate stuff, Anthony.
Very intricate. The the pantographs work in that you can move them up and down, but they don't operate the loco. But the detailing and the lettering, the coloring, and so forth. And this is a lower end model, but this is what's going on now. I mean, this is exquisitely colored. This is a very, very sharp loco, and yet this is. In my world, this is relatively inexpensive at about, now I got it on sale and I paid about $200 plus shipping. It retails for about $260. I got it for less than that through my dealership. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about, where something that's considered low end. This has 18 sound and light functions in the decoder, full sound, full. Because most of your German models are going to come with a decoder, sound, and light functions. Most, not all, but most. If it's Miraklin, it will come with all of it. But Pico will do some that are either analog or base. But that is extremely detailed, and that is a low mid-range model. I don't want to call it a low range, but that is a low mid-range model. That is not.
Now, is that made in Germany? Is that made in Germany or is that made in China too?
I believe with Pico, this one is made in China. I forget where Pico. Pico does make some in Germany, but I think most of their stuff is China. Unfortunately, it does not say on the box. I'd have to go, or it doesn't say on the loco. I'd have to go look on the box. But
again, you have a look at the detail on the roof of that.
Yeah,
I mean, look at all the minute, all those little bits of tiny bits and pieces.
But colored differently. You know, you could see this stuff on models, but it'll all be one color.
Yeah.
And this is just, you know, this is above and beyond to me. It's a beautiful loco. It's not my best runner by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good runner.
They look nice on my layout, Anthony.
Yeah, and this is my new one. I gave my old one away. It's in England now. But anyhow, we can shrink me out of here. Bing. There we go.
On my layout. Son, I am the greatest. Right, it's expensive. Anthony, does it? Split Rock's asking, does it have cabs have interiors? Yes, they. Is that one got it? Most of them do.
Yes. The one of the cab ends lights up, but not both. But yes, it has interiors where you can put a driver and everything in it. Yes.
And so does this engine here, the Rapido one.
In fact,
a cab interior.
I don't have a locomotive that doesn't have a detailed interior, and several of my locos, the dashboard, whatever you want to call it, light up. They have their own little LEDs underneath, and so they light up.
So again, that engine, for the guy that's up here near me, I'm not going to mention the store.
Hey, Sparky.
But the guy that's up here by me in the Southern Highlands, that would be a $520 engine. Just the engine itself.
Are you talking about this one, Artie, or?
No, the one that Anthony was showing.
Oh, okay.
Put that down on here, Sparky. Yeah. Because I joke around with, as a lot of you guys, a lot of people have noticed, I joke around a lot with Anthony with the Railjet, the maroon coloured one. I remember when Rayco came out with them out here, and they had the opening doors and that on them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the forecast set in the engine was $2,500. $2,500 for the engine and the 4 cars to go with it. I have bought some stuff off him, but that I needed because it's nearby and it's easy to get to, but he just got way too expensive. But I did find there is another hobby shop in Melbourne and another one in Adelaide that's selling European stuff, which is nearly 2/3 cheaper than what he is.
Dave's taking off. All right, good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave. Thanks for popping in, buddy.
Well, let's go on this topic because some guys are talking about. I'm sorry, already finished what you're saying.
No, it's all right. There is a couple of hobby shops here that selling European trains that's actually a lot cheaper than what he's selling for. And you've got to shop around. G'day, Raymond. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Raymond. Because they're talking about the biggest expense in the hobby, and obviously it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
For the most part, the single individual purchase expense, the most expensive thing, is going to be the loco as one time. But you can buy the loco and you can have one loco, and let's say you spend $80 or $100 or $150. That's the most you're probably going to spend on that loco. But you're going to put some track up. Okay, that's going to be an expense, but not as expensive as the loco. But the minute you want to start adding scenery, as Jason was saying, you know, $50, $60 buildings, or, you know, you go to garage sales and buy them. But obviously you don't stop with one loco. But there are individual, you know, for example, I don't have one handy here, but I have some passenger cars, like the ones from my ICEs. An individual car goes for $120, $130, and one single passenger coach.
Yeah.
I don't have those issues. My locos are handmade, so and my rolling stock's handmade, so yeah, I can do it pretty cheap. I guess my biggest expense is track and points, or switches as you guys call them. So yeah, it says a lot about learning to handcraft models. I don't need sound. I don't need to have, all the ditch lights and everything. As long as I've got a loco that works and looks the part, I'm pretty happy. And I put one of my, Artie would know, my NRs that I built, and I built that pattern back in the late 90s. So it's still a bit of a beginner.
They were still new then when they went they were only just coming out.
I put it up against the new N-scale one that Icision did the other day, and I can't tell the difference except for the hood's a bit wider. And I didn't have a choice because the motors were back then, a bit bigger. They're a lot smaller now. But all the detail and all the colour matching, because I match all my colours, nothing wrong with it. It's just cheap.
All right, let me answer Split Rock's question here. Split Rock, when it comes to the Railjet, in Austria, I would say 90% of the time you're going to see some version of the Taurus in the matching livery. But every now and then you will see a specialty. For example, I've got my like the Mozart Taurus, but I have never seen, and maybe there are some people I can ask, but I have never seen a Railjet not being pulled by a Taurus. Now, I have seen Railjet wagons being pulled by a regular red Taurus, but it could be the class 1016, the class 1116, the class 1216, but they all pretty much look alike. But most of the time, now the Czech Railjets, you will occasionally see, for example, when we were in Germany this past June, Joyce and I saw a Czech Railjet being pulled by a German class 101 locomotive. But for the most part, it will, at least in Austria, it will, I would say 99.9% of the time it'll be a Taurus, and 90% of the time it'll be a Taurus in the matching livery of the cars. So I hope that answers your question. Right. There we go. Okay.
You see, we had during the bicentenary, we actually had locomotives. All our diesels and most of and only the 86 class of the electric trains done up in the bicentenary livery. And they were done in such a way. Let me go and get one of the engines and show you the bicentenary livery that we had.
But, obviously 3D printing, as we've talked about many times, is changing the accessories world, because you can 3D print anything.
Now, this was our bicentenary livery in our state.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. Now, all classes of diesels that we had at the time, except for the 421, because 421 was phased out, but most of the engines were all painted up like this. So every rail line in the country would see them. They were generally done on passenger duties, but eventually they were swapped out into doing freight duties. And when they were on the freight duties, they actually gone around the system a lot more. So every part of this state got to see that engine. Now, I know with the 86 class, they made two of them, because one was always on the freight, on the coal, and no, it's not split rock. And the front wheels are all driven. This is an old power line one. And then it's like your basic, like the old Tyco system. I will convert it into DCC in time, because there is room to do it in DCC and It's very easy to isolate the motor in it. But that's a project for later on down the track. At the moment, my biggest priority at the moment is to get the main layout done. Yeah, I liked it. I like them too. And believe it or not, they did scrap a lot of them, but then they stopped scrapping them because they were made in the late 50s, early 60s. So whoever's making a cup of coffee, I'd have one too, please. I believe that be you, Robin. Robin, I'll have a cup of coffee, thanks.
Actually, it's me. That Taco Bell's not sitting well. No,
that we're going to scrap a whole heap of them. They did scrap the phase ones and half the phase twos, and then I realised those engines were too valuable because they were able to get onto a lot of the branch lines where they have axle loading restrictions, particularly during the wheat season. Only for 3D printers, but I think I would. Well, it is what it is. I hear a weather radio. Yeah, well, it's not me. The sky is blue out here at the moment. We are expecting a bit of rain tomorrow.
Yeah, we just had our weather radios are going off right now. I guess we're going to get some storms here in a little bit.
So you could have different power for the same train, Anthony.
well, if I'm understanding what you're saying, Rick, yeah, that's why these trains, like the one I was just showing, have multiple pantographs because they go through multiple countries that have different electrical voltages and that, and so they pop up the correct pantograph. Do it at the first station over the border. So when they're coming in, they're on one electrical current or whatever you want to call it, and then if it's going to continue on, it will change pantographs and pick up the new wires. Because sometimes if you watch European trains, and I can't speak for anywhere else, I can only speak for what I see in Germany. Sometimes when you're going, there's only one or two lines and the pantograph is running on it. Other times there's three lines, and I don't know, but my guess is always that two or three lines might be for the different electrical systems you're dealing with, or it just might be more contact for the pantograph. But yeah, they seem to change because Joyce and I noticed that you could when we have taken trains, like for example, from Germany into Switzerland or Germany into the Czech Republic. You can hear the pantographs lowering after we stop and pick up passengers. You could hear or even see one of the pantographs lowering and the other one going up.
Well, see, but that's right. There is a particular region going in Croatia, going between Zagreb and Rijeka down to the seaside.
Right.
Now, I can't remember the station, but there is a spot where the power splits. There's a high voltage and current on the Rijeka side of this platform. Now it's all mountainous. They used to use a lot of the articulated Italian engines on that line because they had the horsepower and they had the traction to get up the grades. The grades there were close to 4%.
Hi, Trackside Mike.
And it was interesting, even to the last time I was there, and I believe I've seen videos, they're still doing it today, where the electric engine will come halfway down the platform, it will have enough speed where it drops the pantograph and it coasts down to the end of the platform and stops. And then it has a diesel engine that actually hooks up the front end, takes it away and shoves it back down to the Zagreb side. And it's because of the two different voltages in the overhead catenary. And there are
Artie,
a few other spots that they do on that.
Artie,
too.
can you post the link again? Jason wants to come up.
Yeah, I think Brandon Legs was asking me if these were GE locomotives too. Yeah, all three of these are GE locomotives. This engine here on the right is a Atlas U36C. The one in the middle is a C30-7. Both of these are Atlas models, and this one on the end here is a Rapido B36-7.
Oh, there you go.
So. And Jason say he heard my weather radio go off. Yeah, we got some severe weather sliding its way to the south out of West Plains. So,
G'day, Trackside Mike. How are you, buddy?
So Split Rock, real fast. Yeah, and they do. For example, in Europe, they have what are called ECs, Eurocity trains, and they're always pulled by locomotives. And the locomotives will have anywhere from 2 to 4 pantographs to adjust for the different electrical systems. So, for example, there is a train that starts in Denmark, goes down to Germany, over to France, and then down to Italy. It's an overnight train that goes from Copenhagen to Rome. It starts in the evening in Copenhagen and arrives in the afternoon, late afternoon. It's almost a full day trip, but it runs weekends only. But it's I forget what it's called. Something. But yeah, and so it can go through there. And so yeah, there are DB locomotives that they go to the Czech Republic, they go to France, they go to Italy, they go, they do. But you can tell which ones are multinational because they have more than 2 pantographs.
Well, they did a lot. Split Rock. The thing was, a lot of that idea comes, those practices and whatnot, has come back from World War II, and during the Cold War era, where they stopped the particular countries going into another country's territory. Mm-hmm. Now they are trying to standardize to about 3 different systems, but you've got to remember the requirements that they need in Europe to run in their systems is totally different to what you got in the US and Australia. You got a lot more mountains and steeper grades. One country would have a bigger railway infrastructure than the other. At the moment, Serbia is in a program where they're doing the rail system to interlock with the European rail system. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my mate what power system they're working on. I know they're working on the Hungarian power system, and Hungary actually joins up with Austria. So it will be most probably don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. I believe they'll be running on the Hungarian system. Because Hungary and Serbia is relatively similar, apart from the language.
They're all somewhat similar, but as Split Rock saying, isn't it frustrating? The problem is everybody developed their electrical system without thinking the outside world, and so if you were to suddenly say, okay, everybody, we're all going to get on this same system, 2 things will happen. It's like trying to go to the one money system, like Europe has the euro, is you have 2 reactions. Number one, somebody's going to have to spend a lot of money to completely convert their system over to whatever system's agreed upon. So that's a lot of infrastructure money. And then secondly, there's always that proprietary, our way is the right way. Why should we change? I mean, that's why countries like Denmark never switch to the euro, even though technically they can switch to the euro. They don't want to. Same thing with
hello, Jason. Goodbye, Jason. Oh, hopefully he comes back up. I know he's still there.
We probably should have. Oh, he's back. So it's just one of those weird things.
See, we had that problem in the early stages here in Australia. We didn't have the problem with power. We actually had problems with gauges.
Well, let's.
And as Lee said, here in Australia, Split Rock, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 different gauges in 4 different states.
Okay.
Right. The only state basically that had one gauge, one standard, and it's still kept to this day is a state that I live in, New South Wales. They adopted the 4'8".
Yeah. All right,
Everyone
Jason,
else,
you're up.
Victoria.
What's up?
G'day, Jason. How are you? G'day, Marty. How are you?
What's going on? Let me know if you can hear me.
Hey,
good.
Jason.
We can
Yeah, I
hear
hear you.
The lag.
Yeah, we can hear your lips moving.
It works better when you turn the mute button off.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm here. It's like the first time I think I've ever been on your stream, Marty.
No, you've been on my streams before. It's been a long while though.
It's been a long time since
Hey,
you've been on any stream.
Yeah, it has been.
I think we should play bingo just for old time's sake.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
You go get the Cajun balls. We all know Artie's going to be in the corner, so we know which one's not to call.
Raymond, yeah, Croatia actually adopted a lot of the former Yugoslavian locomotives. Like you'll find both in when the Civil War broke out over there. A lot of the locomotives and motive power was scattered all over the countryside, and they pretty much stayed there. You will still see the locomotives still running around in their green colours with the gold and yellow whiskers. You'll see them in Serbia. You'll still see the in Croatia. You see them in Bosnia. Yeah, they are based on the EMD. They're the export models. Because you will see them in Spain, you will see them in South America. You'll see a lot of them, and they were really, really good sellers. Yeah, no, you've been on it on my streams when I first started, Jason. But I don't know. It's like you've been avoiding me.
Man, it's life. Life has been kicking me in the butt. Actually, I had the whole house to myself for the weekend.
How did
The kids at the grandparents. So the kid is at my parents, and then the wife is doing her own thing this weekend with her friends. So I get the house.
Woo-hoo!
So I finally was able to start working on things without distractions.
Drinks were on Jason. Party at his place. Well, thanks. Welcome to. It's nice to have you back up here, Jason. It's been a while since you've been up. There's the other guy that I haven't seen that hasn't popped in for a long time. Rick the Tree. He hasn't been up for a while either. And Rainbow Bell. I know they'll be watching down the track. I mean, you guys are the ones that really, along with this guy here, really helped me along with my channel and my live stream. Randall also, he's another champion. He's also the one that helped me up from my beginnings.
Yep, I've helped keep your channel small. That's what I've helped you with. I've helped keep your channel small. I prevent your channel from.
I want to say small, but you helped to keep it stable. Let's put it that way.
No, I help keep it small. People log in and say, "Oh shit, he's here," and they don't join. Yeah.
Compact quality.
Yeah, but at least we've got good quality of people on the channel at the moment. They've all got no sound, Artie. What no sound?
I hear you fine. It's got to be Mike.
Yeah, he's probably got the mute button on. But I mean, I've come a long way thanks to these guys, and we've got good quality viewers in here. We all look out for each other. It's a great community that follows each other. I don't need 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 subs. I mean, I'll come up here.
I do.
Originally,
My ego.
well, you got an ego. But I come up here to socialise. I come up here to spend time with fellow modelers and meet up with new people around the world, and that's my main goal here. It's not here to make a fortune
You're
out
just
of
a
my
social
trains.
butterfly.
Well, I haven't been able to get out very far. Hey, I'm going to get restricted again in another 18 days. I'm going to be restricted for up to about 90 days. So I'm not looking forward to that. I'll tell you that. So that's why I'm really, really pushing to get onto the next stage. Yeah. But yeah. Might keep your speakers on the tracks.
Mike was saying you lost sound, but actually it was Mike who lost sound.
Yeah, he had his speakers on the tracks and the train ran over the cable. Yeah. That's what it would have been. Would have been like that big carpet python that I never forget.
Well,
this one.
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for Mike to hear when he's sitting there and 18 locomotives are flying past in a line.
Yeah, and while he was checking out the female engineer, hopefully he took her out to dinner for putting on those lights. I mean, that was really neat of her putting those headlights up for you, mate. You should have taken her out. Your wife would have let you too. But yeah, talking about cables, I'll never forget the time when actually that's another person I haven't seen for a while. I better go check up to see who's alive. Kurt. We used to go, me and him used to go riding a lot with the push bikes and motorbikes up on the Don Barton line. That's the days when we were able to go on the track, well, not on the track. We used to ride beside the track, the access roads beside the track. And we've seen these guys. We've seen these two guys on a motorbike, on the trail bikes, fall off. And it was like a cartoon. You know, when you see someone quickly just scoot the motorbikes, jump on it and go. That's what these two guys done. And they're like something frightening the living crap out of them. It wouldn't have been us. Even though we looked like we were railway workers, but they scooted off. And as we get closer to where they fell over, here we see this carpet python. I mean, he was a big one. He was about this round in his main body. What was left of him was roughly about 15 feet. You didn't see the other half of him. He's obviously got hit by a train and the tail end of it's been cut. He wasn't very happy. Here he was on the middle of the track. We managed to scoot him off into the grass. It was a carpet python. I think it was very, very sore. We never found the other end of him. My dad explains why those guys took off. They didn't know they're snakes, though. So yeah.
I was doing mowing one time, and I thought I saw a brown snake, so I pushed the mower towards it and took off, and I heard this clunk, clunk, clunk. And I thought I must have got it, and I went back. It was the hose. It was a brown hose, and I thought it was a brown snake. Didn't do the hose any good.
I'll tell you what, one thing in Australia you'll learn is to not run out. One thing you learn about, okay, no, we got a bit of the sidetrack from trains, but one thing you don't do here in Australia is if you see snakes on the road, you don't run them over. Because they'll flip up. They'll flick up underneath your car or truck. I actually had one that ended up getting flicked up in the truck, and you know, those cab over cameras and whatnot. It actually found a nice little spot. Les will know this one. Like you had the gear shift. They used to stay on the chassis, so when you lift the cab up, the gear shift would still be part of the chassis. Well, this snake has decided he's flipped up, but he's made himself the gear, I couldn't change the gears. The snake is coiled around where the linkages and that is for the gear stick. It was nice and warm for it. When I went down to have a look at what was causing, I saw the snake, and it's like, yeah, all right, see ya. Yeah, that was a black snake, that one. Yeah, I wasn't going to play around with him.
Yeah, I don't like snakes.
No, we've had some brown ones here, but we got rid of them. Now we've got black ones in there. The black ones are fine because they don't go snooping like the browns do.
Artie, you didn't get rid of the live reaction heart icon.
Oh, didn't I? Is that up?
Of course it is.
It's not up. Oh, hang on. Okay, let me go and fix that up.
You can't do it
See,
now.
Anthony,
You
see, Artie left it up because he wants everyone to love him.
Yeah, I need that up.
Oh.
I need that up. Thank you, Jason. You worked that out very well. 8-foot red belly came up from the drive wheels. Yeah. Yep.
No, when I was a kid, we were driving out to Pikes Peak, Colorado, and we were on the highway heading in, and we were traveling in 3 cars. It was my dad and our station wagon and camper, and then cousins, and 2 others. But there was a guy we met at a rest stop, and he was going to Pikes Peak, didn't know the way, so he joined our crew. Well, what happened is there was a big rattlesnake crossing the road, a Western Diamondback crossing the road, and my dad ran over it, and we all pulled over, and my dad was going to flick it off the road, and the guy comes right up, no, don't touch it, and we're like, what? I'm going to make a belt out of it. And sure enough, that night at a campfire, he's out there, he's skinning it, he's gutting it, and he is doing the preliminary work to make a belt out of it.
Oh, yuck.
Wow.
That's like what we do here in Australia. Like if we're here on a kangaroo, we just take it because that's dinner. And if you leave that there wrong enough, for as long as there's no ant nest nearby, if you leave that wrong enough, you get fresh jerky out of them too.
Well, I believe there's somebody said they wanted the rattlesnake meat. Somebody else in the group took the rattlesnake meat. I don't know. I'm not going to try it, but I was a kid then.
I've had it. It's not too terrible.
It tastes like chicken, right?
It's got to be.
Yeah, that's the one.
They said the same thing about gator tail too.
Yeah, I tried crocodile. That was like a really tough chicken.
So I do want to tag on to EK and W Motor Works.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, there you go.
See this? You must check your tunnels before entry.
Yep. Before you start an obsession, it's a good idea in Australia to go checking the.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
That
Just
looks
in
like
case.
a brand.
For those of you watching on a small phone, he's pulling a snake out of a tunnel on a layout.
That looks
Is that a King Brown?
Yep.
That's the end of that. Oh god!
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a King Brown.
Okay. Oh, that's the brown tree snake.
He's not happy.
Oh.
Nah, it's not a King Brown. It wouldn't be holding like that.
No,
No.
that would have bit him about 6 times. It's a tree
But it looks
snake.
like it. He looks close to it though.
Okay.
No, he was
But
just
anyway-
watching a high-speed train. He was watching a high-speed train go in the tunnel, and he thought it was a female.
It must have been
Okay.
a New
There you
South
go.
Wales. Must have been a New South Wales train went in there because that's about the right colour.
Okay,
Okay,
Jason,
so-
now you got the floor, buddy.
All right. So PK and W Motor Works is asking who's going to Grapevine for the NMRA last month. So if anyone is going, I'm just going to let you know about a 6-hour drive northeast of Grapevine, Texas. You have Conway, Arkansas. There is a train show that exact same weekend. And the train show is on Saturday and Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, the NMRA last day is Saturday. So if you want to try to find a train show fairly close in the area, you got a train show in Central Arkansas. So just wanted to pop that out there.
6 hours. Oof.
That's just down the road.
But, if you got a lot of people driving back, to the Midwest, that's on the way.
Yeah, there's that.
Well, I'm leaving, so I'm going over to Grapevine in 2 weeks. After a flight down to Sydney and then 15 hours across to Dallas. And
15 hours on a plane.
After the convention, we're actually heading to Colorado with Michelle Kemperma. We're heading to Durango to do the Durango Silverton, and Chalmer do the Cumbs Toltec, then to Pikes Peak to do the Cog Railway, and then I'm going to end up in Denver the next weekend for the narrow gauge convention.
So I gather you're going with Qantas.
Sorry?
You're going with Qantas.
Yeah, flying Qantas across there, and then flying Denver back to LA, and then LA back to Brisbane, so I don't have to go through the hellhole called Sydney.
Oh, that is a hellhole.
It is.
All right, so
terrible.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good piece of advice when you get ready to ride the Cumbers and Toltec, because I just rode it a few weeks ago. If you plan on going out in the gondola car to see the scenery, wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
Because I blistered.
Oh, yeah.
Because Cumbers and Toltec, it's 64 miles if you're doing the whole trip. Yeah. And I was out on that gondola car for at least 60 of it.
Yes,
so, wear some sunscreen.
I come from Queensland, so we live in sunscreen. So, I've got my cap, I've got my hat all organised to go. I will be prepped because, yes, it's going to be rather warm. But I've been busily painting a whole bunch of mini-me's.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a gaggle of me's here. And the idea is all the op sessions I go to and all the layouts I'll be visiting, there'll be a little me left behind.
Hey,
so I'll
Steve
get a photo on. I'll get a photo on everyone's layout of a me.
That's a cool idea, isn't it? Huh.
So so they'll be on Facebook, but all prepped. So I'll leave 2 weeks this Wednesday.
Brings a whole new meaning to the idea of leaving a little you behind every one of your stops.
Exactly. So if anybody knows me that's met me overseas, I've got 120 koalas in the suitcase. So, because I take these little clip-on koalas with me, and then everyone I meet ends up with a koala, as some of them in the chat will probably attest. So then I usually come back with a couple, and then by the time I go on my next trip, they've bred in the suitcase, and there's more again. So yes, we're all ready to go. I'm looking forward to the rides on the Durango and the cumbersome Toltec. So, and then off to Greeley after that for about 3 days after the convention to go and see the rail museum and go and do some rail fanning around Greeley.
The narrow gauge convention should be good.
There's some really spectacular layouts on the layout tour. So,
are you going to take lots of photos and video?
Yes. Yeah, I've got all the camera gear, so I'll have video and I'll have photos.
Now,
You'll have to sign up to the Melbourne 83 Facebook page.
yeah, I've been getting a lot of commissions lately to do narrow gauge stuff, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yes, well, this will probably get me doing a bit more row in 30 stuff after seeing this.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. I end up with rabbit holes.
Really?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
The rabbit holes are not that complex. Trust me.
Oh,
Yeah,
they are.
They,
They are. I've got a bunch of these RC cars I've got to finish off before the convention in Sydney. So, oh, hang on. Let me help. You can't see it if I don't. Yeah. So that's one chassis I've been working on at the moment.
oh. Oh, is that radio control? Did you say?
That's 1/87 scale radio control.
Oh, you show.
So
Can you
I've got
do-
to
can
finish
you
off
do them again?
those because I'm meant to be doing a clinic at the Australian Convention on RC cars or RC vehicles. 1/87 scale RC vehicles.
Yeah, do some in 160.
There's guys out there doing it.
Oh,
There's
really?
a guy I know who's done one of those Tommy Tech buses in remote control.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Split Rock, I'm going over to Speed's layout. I'll be at the op session when I think it's the Wednesday night. He's booked that one. Over to Speed.
Well, some mean lightning out there.
But I've been looking at the weather and it's nice and toasty, so it'll be good.
Until
Well,
you get over there.
this storm just pretty much come out of nowhere. There wasn't hardly anything till this afternoon, and all of a sudden my weather radio started going off. So, and now it's storming pretty good outside.
Hello, John. John, how are you, buddy?
Right.
Hey, John.
Do you get hail over there, Randall?
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's hailing right now because I don't hear it hitting the house.
Okay.
We had
But
hail 2 days ago.
There's a lot of wind out there right now. A lot of wind, lightning, and rain.
Were you in Sydney at that time still, Robin, when we went Uncliffe and Rockdale and around that area and the airport got hit by that fierce hailstone?
Yep, and I was on the other side of town. Yeah, that was terrible, wasn't it? So many places lost their roofs. All the cars were smashed. God.
I'll give you an idea how big the hailstones were. They were as big as baseballs falling from the sky. I mean, they were big. I mean,
Massive.
And they fell. I mean, there was about 4 planes because I was at the Uncliffe Club in Sydney at the time, and the hailstone storm was that bad that it actually pierced holes, put holes in it because we're near the airport. It put holes in the wings of some of the planes down there. That's how bad it was. But I never forget, I had one of our friends, Alex Brown. He left the club because I was there for the day. He left to go home, and he was like 20 minutes away, 10 minutes away. And I get a phone call from him. He says, you want to put your car under cover? There's a bad hailstone storm coming. And you can literally hear it. And I'm thinking, I'll quickly go and take the car into the tunnel because we got the tunnel freeway nearby. But you just hear it coming, and I'm like, I'm not going to have time. I had blankets and whatnot in the car. The only thing I could think of,
violent outside.
I put blankets all over my car, and lucky I had some duvets. I'll tell you what, that cushioned the blow. And just as I was running back to the station platform, because the club's on the station platform, it hit. And I'm glad I didn't take the car into the tunnel because the tunnel flooded.
You know, we haven't had a breeze or anything around here for ages. This morning, I made some scenery materials, put it in a tray, set it outside to dry, and I just went down a little while ago to check on it, and guess what? It's all over the yard. Oh no! And I ain't picking it up.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised we're getting severe weather here because it's been just so hot and humid up here.
Well, we end up
Lovely
having
here. It's a nice, I'd say, 22 degrees, and there's not a
22,
breeze in the sky.
23.
Very
22
nice.
degrees. That's cold for you guys, Marty.
That's really cruel, Marty.
Yeah.
Robin would have a winter jacket on at 22 degrees.
I
Yeah,
have. How did you know?
I know you too well. I know as soon as it drops below 27, you got the heater on.
Man, we've been sitting at 100 degrees for what feels like the past week, at least week.
So I'm about 3 hours south of Randall. It is 89 degrees outside.
That's nice.
The humidity is 62%, but the dew point is 75.
Yeah,
Which means it feels like it's 100 degrees outside at 8:40 p.m.
Well,
It is nasty and sticky.
Yeah.
it's
Sounds like
83 right now here.
It's actually been magic here. It's been magic. I mean, the poor critters and the plants don't know what season it is. Is it spring? Is it winter? Or is it autumn? Or fall, as you got Americans call it.
Queensland weather.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely not Queensland weather. No.
Perfect.
Queensland's too hot. Too hot and muggy. But it's been nice. But they forecasted rain for tomorrow, which is our Monday, and it's like, well, I better get whatever I need done now, which was yesterday, and because Monday's out and Tuesday morning is out, because I've got to race up to Sydney on Tuesday morning. I'll get everything prepared and whatnot. Next minute, you see these big storm clouds. It was so unsettled yesterday. And it started raining. We got heavy drops. And I'm like, hang on. It's today. It's Saturday. It's not Monday. The weatherman got it right or wrong for a change.
We had two systems go through yesterday. We had one morning, early afternoon go through, and then the sun came out.
Please sat their way, buddy.
Yeah, we had so yesterday we topped out, I think, at 92 degrees Fahrenheit with a dew point of about 74, 75.
Yeah.
And
What's the dew point that you mentioned? That's not something.
Okay.
The dew point is the new way of telling you how yucky the air feels. Most people
How
use
humid.
humidity, but it's actually the dew point.
Oh, we just classify
The measure. The higher if the dew point's over 70, it feels nasty outside. 60, you feel it. Below 60, it feels relatively normal. But yeah, when your dew point is 70 or higher, that's when you're walking outside. It feels like you're walking through soup.
Yeah.
So the definition of dew point is a given body of air is the temperature to which it must be cooled to become saturated with water vapor.
Yep.
So in other words, you could be outside and have 100% humidity, but a relatively low dew point, and it's not going to feel yucky. You could be outside. Yeah, that's typically winter. But you could be outside. Like the other day, we had the dew point was 78 degrees, but the humidity was only 48%. So it's less than 0.5% humidity, but because that dew point was 78, being in temperatures in the 90s, the heat index was 120 that day. And that's not high humidity, because to me, high humidity is like anything 70% and up. This was only 48% humidity. So that's where a lot of people get the misconception of, well, it's very humid outside. No, it's not humid. It's sticky. And that's because of the dew point, not the humidity.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So that's probably why the weather reports have been talking about, it's 25 degrees outside, but it feels like lately they've started doing that here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And see, in the wintertime, you have the opposite effect. Instead of what we have called heat indexes in the summer, in the wintertime, it's wind chills.
Mm.
So that means it could be, it could be like 10 degrees outside, but if the wind's blowing, that lowers that dew point even further because the wind's blowing. So you have a wind chill of 0 degrees. So that's kind of
I rode through a place called Sandhawk, and it was -2 degrees up there, and I was on a motorbike.
If you want to know more, I'll bring Joyce down here. Joyce is a super science teacher, and her favorite thing is weather. Because anytime we talk about the humidity, she nags me about. She nags me about. It's not the humidity; it's the dew point. And I'm like, okay, it's the dew point.
So we don't get anything like that on our reports. It just usually tells the temperature and the humidity.
Yeah, just tells you whether you should stay in with air conditioning on.
What, on hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Sorry, but don't forget, Robin. I was at your place in January during summertime.
Yeah, but
Well, you all get conditioned to a degree to where you live.
Yeah. Most of the time down here is reasonably comfortable. I mean, we do have odd days where it gets really, really hot, but I believe we're going to have a hot summer this year. I know.
Yeah, hot and dry apparently.
Yeah,
I don't care. I got an air conditioner.
Oh, I don't care because I like the hot weather.
Oh no, I'm not a humidity fan. So I go into the train room, put the air conditioning on in November, and I come out in March.
I go downstairs in the room that I've got down there that I do the polyurethane casting in. And because polyurethane doesn't like moisture, if there's a lot of humidity in the air, it bubbles.
I love the cold. I hate the heat. I love the cold. I hate the heat.
I'm the same way. I can always put more layers on than what I can take off.
So at the moment, this last week, it's been very, very smoky here the last few days, this last week, because what they're doing is they're doing a lot of backburning or burning the undergrowth around the areas here in preparation for summer, because what they're saying, because of all the rain that we've had here, we've got a lot of undergrowth, a lot of dead undergrowth as well that's taken over. So they are predicting a very bad fire season this year, and the areas that didn't burn in 2019, they're expecting them to burn this year. But I wish they kept that away from the media, because now you're going to get the fire bumps down. Not only going to go out and light the fire. Just at the funeral.
Okay, it's finally done, Ari.
Yeah, you still copying that storm, Randall?
Actually, what that warning was for the counties just to the north. Where I'm sitting at is basically as the crow flies about 3 miles from the state line. 3 to 4 miles from the Arkansas-Missouri state line. Now, if you drive, it's probably more like, I'm gonna say like 5 or 6 to get to right around 5 miles to get to the state line.
Okay. Yeah. I know it's probably going to sound silly. What state are you in? Ohio.
That's if you drive by car. If you go as the crow flies, it's probably more like maybe 3.
Yeah. G'day, Raymond. I'll tell you what, some of those Dash 8s, when I saw on the funeral train, that would be very, very nice to have here in Australia. I wouldn't mind having 4 of them. that run out of Port Augusta and up along the Ceduna line. But only problem is it's the wrong gauge. It's not 4'8" out there. It's the narrow gauge out the way, so it's no good.
3'6".
Where is this?
The line that goes from Port Augusta to Ceduna is a narrow gauge line. And
okay.
There were these Dash 8s that Mike had on his live stream the other day. They call it the
Hi, John.
G'day, John. How are you?
Hey,
The
John.
funeral. They go to the funeral train. They go into the scrapyard, and I'm just saying, 4 of them would have been nice out there and run the wheat train out of there to the harbour, but different gauge.
Or maybe not, because they're being scrapped.
Isn't
Wow.
Horizon doing that now? The wheat? I
Not
thought I
there,
read something.
unless they acquire the line from what's that company with the orange engines and something
They
Wyoming.
bought them out. Yeah, they've got that now.
Hi, Dave.
Oh, they got it. Geez, they're gonna have to do a lot of work.
Horizon
It's gonna cost
dumped all their intermodal and just wanted to do all the heavy haulage like iron ore and coal. And then in the
G'day,
last
Kiwi Dave.
12 months or so, they've been
I-
buying
I-
up all the stuff and doing intermodal again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they'll have to truck all the equipment down there because it's a different gauge, unless they're going to standardise the gauge. But I know they really got to fix up the infrastructure on that line because Wyoming, they really made a mess. They let that line disintegrate to a point of disrepair. And I know Cubic, they ended up having a contract where they were carting the grain direct by road because it was going to cost them a fortune to fix the rail line up. And we're talking about nearly 900 to 1,000 miles of track. The yards are still there, the silos are still there, but the rest of the track work, it's not washed away. They still have the old wooden sweepers or wooden ties under it that are almost non-existent because of the termites got to them. So Horizon, they're gonna be spending a lot of money fixing up the rail network unless they're gonna use road transport as well for the time being to a certain location, then rail it.
Yeah. I think
That's what they do in Western Australia. That's what they do in WA. They got these they got these wheat ports where they get all the trucks to bring all the trains or all the trucks to bring the coal. Hang on, let me start again. They got these silos where they bring all the wheat into, and they only got X amount, and then they're like a satellite hub, and then from there they will roll it in, and trucks can travel up to nearly 500, 600 k's to get to one of these silo hubs because they believe in having both road and rail work together.
Okay.
They get the hubs out a lot quicker than what this state does. A lot quicker. G'day, Postmodern. How are you?
Hey, Postmodern.
New South Wales is getting a lot better with their wheat dispatching, but the problem is now with New South Wales, you've got so many different rail companies now. We've got about 5 rail companies here that sharing the same lines to do the same product. And they're still bringing in last season's harvest. And the new harvest is back to where are we now? We're in July. the new harvest season is about to start in September, and it's going to be a huge season this year.
Yeah, I just checked it. It's Horizon's got a contract to do the Air Peninsula, so they're opening a lot of the closed lines, and they're going to do the wheat harvests now. But they wouldn't be short of 3'6" locos because it's Queensland, so they can just haul
Yeah,
through them down.
but it's transporting to there. That's going to be a big cost.
I just whack a 4'8.5" bogies on them, drive them down.
Yeah, they could do that. They could do that.
They've done that before today.
Mm.
Yeah.
But then
There's a
again,
Queensland 2400, I think, that was converted over to 4'8.5" and was run down there.
yeah, they could do that.
Yeah.
It depends on how busy the tow rail traffic is too. You know, sometimes it's quicker to get down there by road than what is by rail.
And it's rail first they took over. So,
Cake's done.
Oh, who's baking cakes? Who's got the cake? Mm.
oh, me, I did it yesterday.
Oh, bugger. And you didn't send me any?
No,
Didn't
it
bring any over?
was too yummy.
Yeah, that's...
Is your layout N scale split rock, or am I wrong?
No, he's HO.
Yeah, Thomas.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
is it?
HO.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
HO.
look at this. That looks pretty cool.
They're beautiful.
Robin, have you seen Thomas's channel, or have you seen him before?
I've been catching up on a lot of channels. That's why I said I probably need help.
So Tom is a master modeler. He does amazing work.
I'm just looking at all that tracks being hand laid and the points.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's something that Jason's doing too at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some N scale ones because they're just so expensive now.
I think
Yes, there was a
Steve,
mention of
Steve
cakes,
Arnold.
Mike.
Doesn't Steve Arnold with Back on Track? I think he does N scale and he hand lays his own turnouts as well,
Oh, really?
if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's worked on his layout much since he's got the 7.5-inch gauge steam locomotive he's been putting a lot of time and effort into.
Thomas, just quickly, what yellow are you using?
I call it 30 coats yellow.
There you go.
If you know, you know. It's actually CSX yellow.
CSX yellow. Okay.
Yeah, from Floquill.
So
And now you know that CSX puts 30 coats of yellow to get their yellow.
what's the equivalent in Tamiya? Camel yellow is an equivalent.
Yeah, there's a couple that are close, but I've still got a. When Floquill went out of business, I kind of became a hoarder. Got a whole bunch of bottles.
You became a hoarder. Okay, I didn't hear the second song.
Yeah, hold on.
Either, tomato.
Yeah, I only heard the first two words too, Anthony.
I was like,
Billy used-
wow, some people do anything for their paint.
Billy
Yeah.
used to like Floquill.
But I think any model hobbyist, anybody who's ever painted models, wargaming figures, tabletop stuff, model training, yellow is by far the biggest pain in the butt to paint with of any of the colors. Purple comes in there, but yellow is just for some reason, and somebody's explained it to me before, the properties it takes to make yellow and that it's just whatever you're painting, you paint walls yellow.
Yellow,
It's
white,
any other
and
color.
yellow, white, and orange are the hardest colors to do.
Hey, Artie.
Yeah, actually, I have good luck with white. Some white can be hard, but I can also find plenty of types of whites that it's not a problem. But I've never found a yellow paint that, ooh, one coat, that went on well. With anything.
No, it's transparent.
because I hate yellow as a wall color, and Joyce's mom and dad asked me to redo their kitchen. Looking for the phone. Did you check
your pocket, Split Rock.
I lost her there.
It'll be in the last place you look.
And they decided they wanted the walls in their kitchen yellow, and I tried to talk them out of it, but no.
Oh, you got
So
the
they
phone
had,
now.
they had me paint their
Okay,
kitchen
John. Good
yellow.
night, buddy. But I've got it. There is one important tip I should share with everybody. When you paint your locomotives, you need to mask up everything. He's lost his phone again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I done a bit of a boo-boo with my last paint job. And I've got to work out how I'm going to fix it now.
Hey Artie,
Yeah.
I've just sent you an email with photos at the NR. If you want to see yellows and oranges and everything, have a look at that.
Okay,
and to answer your question or your statement, Anthony, when I started sign writing, they still had lead-based paints, so coverage was really, really good, and particularly with yellow. When they took the lead out of the yellow in particular and the red, it made them really difficult to get coverage without 2 or 3 coats. And yellow is the worst, and the best way to get a good coverage is to put down a white base.
But I noticed even with the reds, they actually fade. Well, when I painted this switcher, I didn't mask up the headlight, did I? So I've got to close it up. And yeah, so I do have I don't know, it might actually pop out. I don't know. No. What I am going to do, I did do a -8 with the same orange, Tamiya orange, and I put it on the Santa Fe yellow. Oh, not Santa Fe yellow, UP yellow. And it actually turned out close to a red colour. Yeah, I've got to fix up there for that Dakota or my engine too there, Jason. So this is going to be the switcher for it. I managed to do. I've got a Dakota on it. I've put a TCS Dakota, but I think that's the shell for it, or the neck for it. So I'm going to get this going. That's going to be my little freight switcher. I'm not putting a sound in it, but I think I might have to machine the weight down a little bit down in here so this can actually fit down in its hole. So that one's going to be almost ready to go. That'd be the first place to work.
There's a whole heap of mini Martys, and there's a mini Marty in the corner, and he's moving.
Yeah, the others are pretty stagnant.
Look at that.
I'll tell you,
doing the
colors
patented AML pose.
Artie, I'll tell you the colors. The color that is a pain to paint with is anything that is like a reflective, like a metal color. I got my Walters Bridge kit finally finished, and I use a Tamiya bare metal silver, and boy, if you lay that on hard, it does not look good. But I've got pictures here I can share with you real quick.
Okay, you share that. Well, I'll go and check out this email.
All right. So that was before.
They got a little bit of a blur there, Jason.
That's it.
That is after.
Oh, cool.
Let me see if I can swipe it the right way. Nope. There we go. That was before.
Was it too bright, Jason, or is it?
Too shiny. It's too reflective.
Yeah.
And so there was one spot on the other side of the bridge that you can't see, which will be it'll be facing the backdrop. I sprayed it a little too heavy on the outside brace because I was trying to get the inside of the brace on the other side. And so it's like all bubbly up there and it just looks horrible. But because it's a reflective paint, I can't just go and kind of wipe clear and then try to respray it on there. Otherwise, it's just going to make it look even worse. So I'm just going to have to leave it the way it is.
Didn't you just throw a coat of dull coat on it, Jason?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say.
say.
That would dull it down?
Most of the dull coat.
Yeah, I mean, I'll end up putting dull coat on it because I'm going to weather it. I'm going to make it look like it's rusted out as well. Okay. So I have to leave that gloss on there so that way as I start putting washes, a pen wash, and then also, like rusting it out and stuff like that. And then I'll dull coat it on the end. But just for someone who wants like a brand new shiny bridge or something that's metal, anything like silver, gold, paints like that, they're a pain in the butt to just get perfect. So
there's a thing you can do that.
Thanks for the heads up.
Has talc in it. That's what makes it matte. So matte clear has a talc in it, and sometimes if you spray it, it gets like a whitish effect. If you add a little tiny bit of black, that'll tone it down, and I mean a really tiny little bit of black. So it's a lot of experiment. I mean, I've been sign writing and I was by trade a long time ago, 50 years ago or something. And you learn so much when you paint. It's And sometimes I experiment. I'll have a piece of plastic. I'll put down a base coat like a primer, and then I'll put a coat over the top and see how it looks. And if it doesn't look right, then I experiment until I get it right, and then I go to the model. Because it's so hard sometimes to get the paint off the model when you've mucked it up. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, Corey, it's almost like chrome, but not quite chrome. It's
I know the one you're talking about.
It's enough that you can see like a reflection in it, but it's not a detailed reflection.
Yeah.
So
it's
not quite chrome.
Okay, here's the
one at the back is made in China. The model in the front is handcrafted with styrene as a pattern, and then I cast them. And the colours I matched from a real loco. I noticed that the one that Ozcision did, there's a section at the back that's not 100% right. Well, not according to what I saw anyway. I still screen print my own decals. So, it just goes to show what you can do. And this is all masked, and there's a really, really tiny little piece in the back there. This is end scale. And those lines are that really lemon yellow is a difficult one to get to that brightness.
Oops, sorry, that was light.
Yeah, so she does the end scale ones as well. But they're only DC with a DC mech, and most of them are the Bachmann mechs, the Dash 8.
I've got about 380 of the bloody things, so I've got to use them up.
So if anyone's interested, grab a hold of Robin and discuss with her, because she also does 82 classes. What else do you do, Robin?
I haven't done much more in the way of locomotives because I haven't sold many. People didn't want to buy them for some reason. So, but it was good to do this comparison because all of the panels, to get the colours right, the model that I made is pretty accurate. So I just counted the panels to figure out where to mask off. I originally did the handrails. I etched them myself, but then I thought I was going to need to do quite a lot, so I got them etched over in the UK. It was just going to take too long for me to do it on my own, but the first couple of lots I did on my own. So it's good being able to do it all in house and then casting them and certainly screen printing the decals. And on the front window, you won't see it on here. I actually screen printed the outside edges of the framing and included the windscreen wipers. So yeah, it was a bit of fun, and they do look really good. And I'm really glad that when I compared it to the Chinese made one, that the only difference is the hood on mine's a bit too wide to
No,
accommodate.
that's just beautiful.
2 millimeters too wide it is on the Mac, but everything else is exactly the same. So
No,
You did a great job.
that
Yeah.
I would not have known that was hand done. I mean, that looked out of the. I mean, and that could be an insult to a really good artist saying it looks out of the box. Could be an insult, but you know what I mean. I mean, that looks like high end production, and yet you did it yourself.
the first model that I made wasn't. It was okay. Don't get me wrong, and I sold a lot of them, and because no one else was doing ready to run stuff, and as it turned out, it was a bit too short. Everything else was pretty close. But then there was a lot of criticism about it, and that just motivated me to go, 10 times better. And all the panels that you see on the model that I've got at the front there, you probably can't pick them up, but there's all the hinges for the door, for the inspection doors. All the hinges are there.
That's my station.
It's really tiny little slivers of you can see them there, and that's all hand scribed, and then all the little tiny pieces of plastic were cut out and then glued on to pretend that it was that it was the hinges. So it shows what you can do if you really put in a bit of effort and practice, and you can handcraft models. I've gone away from scratch building because a lot of people refer to that as screen printing, as 3D printing, but that's that one. The Mac doesn't even have the hinges on. Oh yes, I do. Yep.
So Robin, how much
Yes.
time did you put into that locomotive?
To do the pattern, about a week, and more so because of I was determined that I was going to make a statement that it was possible to model at that level.
On that and show it.
And yeah, unfortunately, I think I upset a few people when I released my first model, and it sort of upset some apple carts, and people didn't like me anymore. So it was really hard to sell these. I tried to sell these, and it just didn't work. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I think that one of the things that I enjoy is doing all of the things myself rather than having to depend on someone else to
Apparently, one of the wires
do the casting or to do the pattern making or whatever. And that's part of the hobby that I really enjoy, but it's dying now. It's a bit like my trade, sign writing, where I use a brush. I still use a brush and practice, but it's a bit pointless now.
Okay.
No, Raymond, they're not 3D printing locomotors. They're not.
No, there's some marks you can see on the top of that. That's actually a scribed panel. They're vents. So all of that etching, I suppose you could say, on the sides, that's all done with a scribe, like a knife with a hook end on it, and just scratch at the plastic to get the marks. And in some cases, you can see it's a little bit rough, but yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good for a girl.
Pretty good.
Good looking engines.
That's a lot better than I could do.
Chassis.
Yeah, sorry, Artie. I was just going to say I did start doing some classes because people wanted to. Number one, a lot of people didn't think I could do this, and I wanted to prove that I could, but also show other people that you can learn from someone who's done it and learned all the little hiccups along the way. And I ran some classes, but it amazes me how people just don't want to put in. When you say you've got to practice, you've got to have a crack at doing things all the time, and and they didn't want to know about it simply because of the fact that they just want that instant result. And handcrafting models is not impossible, but it does take practice. The very first model that I ever made when I got into this hobby after I met Bill was a loco, but I was a bit rough with the saw. I not saw the file because I'd never worked with styrene in the past. So I was more into doing woodwork and doll's house furniture and stuff. So plastic was a whole new ball game for me. And then I also had problems when you drew everything onto the plastic and then you started cutting it out. Your hand wiped off all of the artwork. So I came up with a solution for that, which I did. So yeah, it's fun. Not everyone's cup of tea, though.
So let me ask you this: are you a member of the NMRA?
Yeah, I am.
Have you looked into their achievement program?
Yeah, I've got I think 4 certificates now, but
Okay.
without being awful about it, I got an email from a member and someone I know that told me that I was the most hated person in the hobby and all that sort of stuff. So I haven't been to NMRA members for meetings for a while,
Ooh.
and I'm not sure whether I continue with my pursuit of getting the master modelist. I really wanted to try and get a master modelist thing.
See, I'm working on it too, and Split Rock has given me a lot of advice, and I mean you're already ahead on me on this one because to be an MMR you have to either scratch build rolling stocks or you can scratch build locomotives, and I mean I don't see any reason why that locomotive there, if you scratch built it, why that one can't be judged. I mean,
we did have a bit of a problem out here when you made something that someone else would, as we call it, throw rubber over it and start casting them and selling them. So it sort of negated you moving forward with selling them. So it was that was a bit of an issue. And that's one of the reasons why I do all these things ready to run. But on the other side of it, one of the guys from NMRA told me that it's really rare to ever get a successful number on N-scale models because you just can't put in the detail. So, I've got a whole heap of
I don't see any reason why you couldn't, because I mean, if you scribed everything,
it's all right.
That's not true. Whoever told you that, it's not true.
Okay. An interesting thing about this is I keep my patterns. So my original pattern I've still got. All of the patterns for all of my wagons and everything, I keep them. And it's just to prove that it is actually handmade from styrene. So, yeah.
I've got to say this much. Sorry, Anthony, before you. I've got to say this much. There has been some people in our community that have been quite nasty towards not just Robin, but Robin in particular, but they've been very nasty towards female modelers.
Yes.
And it's disgusting and shameful for what they are doing here in this country. I
try not to get too bogged down with it. I think, and then people. Oh, look! Initially, it was a bit of a novelty when I started getting involved, but then when I started model making, and people saw what I was doing, then that created some issues. So, and there are a few people who weren't particularly keen on having women in the hobby, but that's a bit of bad luck. I grew up with 4 brothers, so you don't give up.
Have you got? Could you email me a photo of your 82 class and an AN if you got it handy? To share with the viewers.
when I was doing it tough, I sold a lot of stuff. Hey, I'll have a look, but
Yeah, see if you got, because she also done the 82 class, which is like a dog bone EMD, which is based on the SD60s. Sorry, I've just been distracted by those Alcos.
Hey, that's the only thing you're going to find on Split Rock's layout is Alcos.
Look, they're more distracted than a lady running in a nude at the front of my place.
is that still happening down there?
It happens here every day. If you don't have the girls doing it, it'll be the guys doing it. And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, he got caught with his pants down again last night." Okay. Well, they got thrown out of house. They got thrown out without their clothes. That's normal around here. Well, Raymond, it is. That's why a lot of them do. And the way I've seen it, and I've got to say, in some, come and go again. Sorry, guys, I've got to have a look at this. Oh, look at that. In that, man. I've got to say this much: it's disgusting with the behaviour of some of the male modelers towards female modelers, and I have actually seen it and witnessed it in a few places. Oh, there's a female modeler. Oh, okay. Not enough smoke for the Alcos. Yeah, I know, Liz.
Oh, yikes.
They'll go, oh, they're interested in trains. Oh, great, they ain't a model. Oh, let me hit onto her. And just treat him like a normal person, like what you would do with normal male modeler. You know, and that's why you don't see many females coming up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ari, that people does stuff like that, and then they wonder why the hobby isn't expanding. That's a lot of it right there. People treating
well, and the world's worst ones that are doing it are your rivet counters.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Jason.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do or what hobby you're in. There's always a-holes involved in everything. So it's not just limited to this hobby.
I was a member of a particular club here in Australia, and there was a couple of female modelers that were coming in and to run trains and whatnot, and there was about 3 guys that were just kept on hitting onto them, hands all over them. I'm like, hang on a minute, guys, you guys are married men. Then all of a sudden these females stop coming and they go, oh, we haven't seen such and such. And I'm thinking, well, I wonder why. You guys are all over it. It's like, leave them be.
Did you put me on big screen?
Yeah, I've just looked at all the people that starved and died and fell over from.
Well, I've been movie things, but that's my download station. No, I'm experimenting with something. But since you got me on, I want to see.
I was going to say, it looks like there's casualties at the bus station. You have a wayward bus driver come through there and mow over half the passengers.
I don't know.
I'll tell you a secret. Anthony's trying to recreate the Sims 4 in HO scale.
Well, actually,
it looks like I've been driving my remote control bus around there.
Well, all right, let me explain what you're seeing. Okay, this is an actual city of Delmenhorst. There's an actual city, and this is a 100% 187 scale accurate model of the bus station. I've been messing with this, and I just put a camera over there because I'm trying. The camera can see better than my eyes can now, and what you see at the bottom, there should be 2 monitors working. One is not, but that runs the train schedules. It's actually tapped into the Deutsche Bahn, the German Federal Rail System, and when I activate it on my computer, it will have all the trains and buses that run at Delmenhorst and their time on those two display boards, which is exactly what happens at the Delmenhorst bus station there. And I had a couple of years ago, I had the Fowler car system briefly working where the buses pulled in, stopped, and then headed back out into traffic again. And I'm trying to rebuild it because I had a disaster with my Fowler car system that I've been trying to fix for a couple of years. Actually, I haven't tried for a year and a half. But the other thing I've been working on, I don't know if you'll hear this. Are you hearing anything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can hear a little
some
bit.
chatter. Is that
Okay.
supposed to be like the passenger station's PA?
That
Yeah.
is the train station's PA, and it's coming through speakers in the canopy on the stations.
Oh, that's cool.
So I built that 3 years ago, but unfortunately, a little while ago, we were having to move some things around, and some people shoved some things under and hit my hanging wires and messed up some of the wires. And I've been trying to fix it. And I just, while we were online, I was pulling the wires up and reattaching it to my tablet. I run this on my tablet. So I've got station announcement sounds, and it actually plays at the station. I have micro speakers throughout the canopies on both platforms over there. So it plays the actual train announcements that I recorded or picked up online, and it plays all the station announcements.
Yeah, in translation, what he's saying, his station announcement translation is basically saying, this is Anthony Dodge's railroad. No trains ever stop in here, so go and catch a bus. But yeah, bus is going to run you over anyway, so you're doomed.
So-
Welcome to the doomed road.
So I do have one comment about a rivet counter. We do have one that I know of that's in our community. However, he is actually the best rivet counter that I know of because he doesn't criticize anybody else's railroad, only his own. But he is a true rivet counter, and that is Flying Crow, or Robert, that's part of On Track Tuesday. And he told me he is a rivet counter because when it comes to his stuff, if it doesn't have the proper number of grab irons, he will take off all the grab irons and put on the proper number with the proper spacing. That's a true rivet counter. Someone like me, on the other hand, I'm more just a prototypicalist. It's got to look somewhat right. If it's got one less grab iron, I don't care. But
And me, I just operate what's cool.
yeah, but Flying Crow, he will never criticize anybody on their railroad because he's like, it's your railroad, your rules, you do what you want to with it.
Yep.
So he is, in my opinion, the rivet counter that should be modeling or to be the model of rivet counters.
Oh, and I know plenty of that in the German community,
Yeah.
the American community,
Yeah.
guys that for themselves are very strict. I mean, for example, not trained, but in my world, I am, when I'm anywhere out in public, I am what they call a grammar Nazi. To myself, I will always speak very proper, but other people around me will mispronounce a word or screw, and they'll look at me and go, "Sorry," and I'm like, "I'm off the clock." I hold myself to a certain standard, but I don't hold other people to the standard I hold myself to. You can do and talk the way you want, and I will if I'm with friends, but in certain other things, I'm very strict about that. But that's how you should be. You can be strict on yourself, just don't be strict or hard on other people. Because when I got into this hobby, I had no background in trains. And you want to talk about rivet counters, do Märklin 3 rail with Germans. Because there are a lot of them that, you are doing so wrong! Up against the wall, you will be shot!
It does that way.
But there's plenty of people that, for themselves, everything's got to be perfect, but do your thing as well.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. My
Let's
trade
see.
when I did it, my boss was very much about perfection, and it stuck with me. Billy was a good mentor for me for the trains because I had no idea about any of it. And but then when I'm teaching people, I never criticize them, because everyone's got to have a start somewhere. And I still have my very, very first model that I ever made, a locomotive model in N scale. And I look at it now and I think, oh my God, what the hell is that compared to what I'm doing now? But it's just practice and constantly never being satisfied with average, But that's me. Not everyone has to fulfill that,
You see, with me, like when we talk about river counting, I mean, I'm not that much of a river counter, but I would do something that I want. But then there are times when you accept what you have. Like for example, we had these bud cards here in Australia. So I've done this. Now it's not accurate for the Australian model because we got for what the South Coast Daylight they ran here. It's got steps here where we've actually had access holes for the driver to climb up. We didn't have the baggage door. That was all closed off with a couple of windows on the side. But all I'd done to make it look close to what we had here, put the diaphragm on the end and painted the headstock or the cow catcher red. Now, to make it the proper model to what used to run here, I've got to lower the shell by, I think it is 2 feet, a foot or 2 foot. It's actually got to sit lower, and the ends is more squared off. I've got to put a DCC decoder on this, but I've got 2 of these. I need to rake them all, but they're getting very, very hard to find. And there was 5 of them in a set.
Hey, Artie,
yeah.
are you going to put sound in it or just DCC?
I do want to put sound in it.
Because I did one for a customer not too long ago.
Yeah. I'd love to put sound in it. But
I'm gonna send a link. I don't know if I can pull it up. It's like just a couple of minute video, but I'm gonna see if I can post a link in the chat.
Right.
All right, Artie,
and then you can pull it up.
Okay, Anthony, buddy, thank you.
All right,
and
see you, Anthony.
Have a good weekend, Anthony.
Now
everybody.
Anthony, you want to go on leave again next week, do you?
Right. I will not be here next week. I will either be still in Columbus with the family or on the highway home from.
Have fun.
I suppose if Joyce drives, I could sit next to her on my phone.
Have the weekend off, buddy. Have the weekend off. Have fun. Have a good time.
All right.
Take care.
Safe trip, Anthony.
Hey, buddy.
Take care, Anthony.
See you.
All right, Artie. I don't know. Did that link post up in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you take a look at that real quick? You can share it with everyone.
Okay.
If it'll let you open it.
Yeah, it's got to let me open it. Let me go into YouTube.
This is one I did for a customer. So what I do when I do decoder installs for people, I will upload a private video or unlisted video of their locomotive so that way they can either approve or reject my work. So this is actually one that I did for a customer that he approved. Brass C 415. Oh wow, you finally got a 415. Okay. Shouldn't be hard. All you need is if it's brass. I would say either a TSU 2200, or if you like putting in lighting functions, I would go with a 21P NEM Alco and get the JST. I can't remember the number, but the wire harness that converts a 21 pin decoder to the 9 pin. But it's also got solder tabs on it, so that way you have all the extra lighting functions still. That's what I would do.
Okay, I'll share this up if I can. Jason.
All right. He even my customer, there it is.
Ooh.
All right, so we're going to test out this locomotive. Do the lighting first. Headlight. Press function 0. Headlight comes on. And so there is a little bit of light bleed, so it goes off. Rear light comes on. Change direction again. Rear light goes off. Headlight comes back on. Interior cab light, I changed to function 4. And the camera is catching a flicker, but to the naked eye, there's no flicker. So it has to do with the refresh rate of the camera. But it's not too terrible on the light bleed, so I got these turned way down. But let's get the motion and sound. So you'll press function 5 to start her up. All right. The horn, the bell, the braking, it's all automatic sound. So we're just going to go to speed step 10. So you're going to automatically hear the horn and the bell, and then when I brake it. And then we'll stop it. So that's the stop signal. Let's put it in reverse. All right. This time we're going to crank it up to speed step 20, let you hear it sound a little harder on the motor. Actually, I went to speed step 30. And then we're going to brake it, and it's going to take a little bit for it to brake unless it finds a dead spot. Yeah, so I put momentum in on it. But there you go. You got momentum set all in it. Your sounds are all good. You can close it out already. All right, so what I ended up putting in that locomotive already, so that way you know, it's got the 21P NEM decoder that is for Baldwin and others. The prime mover was set to the Galloping Goose because that's the only one that's what George at Soundtracks told me to put on it. And it's got the JST adapter that I was telling Split Rock that I used on it. And the decoder is actually taped up to the roof in the center part. You know, because of the motor and whatnot. And then between the center support and where the motor is, I was able to stick 2 Minikube speakers and wired in series. So that's how I did that install.
See, if I go by the way ours sounded a little bit different to that. I'll have to have a look. But I need to find at least another. I need to find another 2, but I need to find 2 coaches. Why not EMD sounders, Jason? Trust me. Yeah, we need a Cummins motor for our bud cars. That's right. Yeah, because ours was totally different.
So
I
see if I can get the glare off. There you go. I don't know if you can see. There's one of the speakers, but there's two of them side by side.
Oh, boy.
yeah. See, I need to find a loose another two full passenger cars like what you had there, and preferably have a fifth one. That will be more of a dummy, but I need to chop down the air conditioning vent that's on the roof, because that was that buffet. You know, the camel hump they got on the top of the roof? Was that buffet car that we had here only had a single air conditioning unit above the buffet car, not a double one like what we have on these ones here. I believe somebody was going to make the New South Wales shell to fit on the Proto Mech, but I have not seen them. But yeah, I will put them into a DCC Dakota.
So this one here was my hardest install ever, and I did it just a few days ago, about a week ago. It's an ON30.
Yeah.
No room. The decoder had to go in that reefer car behind it. Absolutely no room in this locomotive to house the decoder.
Robin, didn't you have one of these? Some of them?
And then this is where I had to do the hookup before I painted all my wires black. But yeah, that's where I had to put the wire harness.
Yeah.
There is a gap below, right below it, but that's where the coupler comes out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just getting that one converted to DCC. It was not DCC ready. It was just DC. And getting it converted to it was a pain in the butt. This is what all I had to do. Fully disassembled, split chassis. The boiler and the saddle tank was solid metal, solid die cast. So even though you would think like there was no plastic shell, it was all metal. So
that was a Bachmann model.
Yeah,
Was that
Bachmann ON30? It's a 040 quarter. But yeah, that was my toughest install that I've ever done. I think I spent 7 hours on that one locomotive.
Yeah.
You can't, like I said, Raymond, there is no space in that locomotive whatsoever. Not even an in-scale decoder would fit. Absolute zero space.
The one
the ones.
Let me put it this way: the space was so restricted that as I was trying to run wires for like the headlight, which I had to replace it to LED, and the motor leads and the rail pickups to even get it to the cab, as I kept putting it together, it would keep scraping the plastic off the wire and causing shorts. So I had to go back, reopen it, file the metal down a little bit so that way I could create like a little channel for those wires to sit in, so that way when I put it back together, it wouldn't scrape the plastic coating off the wire. That's how little room was in that locomotive.
You see, this is where it gets frustrating with the Australian models. Let me just change the cameras. This is where I find it frustrating with the Australian model outline. Because like this little engine here, this is a Tranorama 48 Alco, right? I love to get a sand in that. I love to get a tsunami chip into that, right? I think it was a 21 pin or an 8 pin. I can't remember. And the problem is, I will have to somehow modify the inside of it because there's no room in it. There's no room in that shell. There's the other engine I love to the other engine I'd love to get sound into. Is my little 70 class. It's this little 70 class. You got no room
Yeah.
in here. You don't have much room in there. Yeah, I
Right.
don't really want to get detail. The chip is the only chip that would actually fit in here is the TCS chip. The chip. The keep alive is up in the front, right? But there's no room to put because your sound chips are really bit bigger than the standard chip, and it just has no room in it. So
So
just have to run.
something, and something to mention about using N-scale decoders on HO scale locomotives. I'm not saying it can't be done because I've done it myself, but depending on the locomotive and the manufacturer, what you have to do is you have to take that motor out and you have to test the amperage stall on that motor and to see if it is compatible with a N-scale decoder. Because like with Soundtracks, which is the company that I work with, their N-scale decoders amp stall is only rated up to 1 amp. The HO scale decoders are rated up to 2 amps. So if I take an HO scale, let's say a Proto 2000 SW1500 that I recently did for John Schuylkill River Valley, I had to take that motor out and test the amperage stall of that motor, which came to be 0.98 amps. So it's right there at that 1 amp threshold. But if it was like 1.1 amp, I would have had to use an HO scale decoder because if for some odd reason that amperage stall goes all the way to the top and it ends up drawing more than what that decoder is rated for, it will blow the decoder or fry it, in other words.
Now there is a tsunami. I was told there was a tsunami chip that can go in there, which is an N-scale version of it.
Probably the N18.
Yeah. However, the guy that deals with the soundtrack chip to go into that wants $280 for the chip.
Yeah, the N18 is what I ended up putting in John's Proto 2000 SW. It's a SW9 and 12. So yeah, SW912. That's what I ended up putting in it. And his has got so many wires in there because his has got front ditch lights, back ditch lights, and 2 strobes on the roof. So you talk about a wire nest inside of a locomotive. That one's got a wire nest.
So this one's already got a circuit board in it, and what the circuit board controls is your little marker lights that's up the front, your number board light, and your headlights. Right now, these. Let me get my fingers there. Well, you got the little marker lights there. They go from white to red. Right now, when they were running the like the metropolitan area in Sydney, they weren't allowed to use headlights. They were only allowed to use the marker lights.
Okay.
So not to blind passenger, but blind the drivers on the metropolitan railway system. Once they get out of the metro area, they are allowed to use headlights.
It is a bit of a problem, though, isn't it? Because these N-scale locomotives, to give you an example, an American body in N-scale, about the same size as that NR that I did, has about 13 millimeter hood width.
They can, Liz.
Our Australian locomotive is about 9. So there's about 4 millimeters in difference and that's why it's difficult, especially with these Bachmann mechs trying to fit something in there. All the
All right,
American. Go on.
this is for Postmodern Model Works. This is the SW12, which is also the SW9. It's in the same box, so. But you can see that I use the N18 decoder. It's actually taped up because I didn't want it to short out on anything. With one mini cube where I had to mill out part of the weight, and I glued the mini cube straight on top of the truck or the worm gear. But yeah, this thing has so many lights. It's unreal. It's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bulbs, 10 LEDs. And here's the back of it. Yeah, I apologize for the light reflection.
It's all right. We know the wife ain't home.
Yeah. Well, if I don't have the lights on, you can't see my face, so. That one was not real tough. It was fun. It was a fun install, but it wasn't real tough. It did take a lot of time to. Yes, that is the proto motor and drivetrain. It's a Proto 2000 SW9/1200.
Yeah, I'm not doing any coder install. I'm not doing any locomotive work on anything until basically my main 4x8 section is constructed, because I don't want to take time away from it. Now, talking about river counting, here's the most accurate models I have not seen. Highly detailed, accurate models in a long time like this.
Yeah, we brought out the legends, Artie.
They are the classics.
Now, where's your chain to connect them together?
Right there.
The poly chain.
Yeah.
You know what the freaky part about it is? When you see that blue train, the Thomas, going down the F6 freeway coming towards you.
Oh, good grief.
I tell you what, that is a freaky scene.
I've been seeing these videos pop up from time to time. I don't know if it's supposed to be a gag on the Thomas thing or what, but supposedly there's these videos called Choo Choo Charles, and apparently it's this giant spider that possesses a steam engine. And I forgot what game it is. I don't know if it's Grand Theft Auto or what it is, but somebody was doing videos on that, and it's almost like watching a horror movie.
I tell you what, when we used to do the coal up out of Westwood Colliery up the mountain here. Now, of course, we used to fly back in them days before all these speed cameras and whatnot. But I never forget there's one time we were doing a lot of really, really long shifts, most of us trying to get the coal in. And next minute you seen Tom, I actually saw, not just me, but a few others, we were like, did we just see a steam engine? Did we just see Thomas fly past us, going the other way? And literally, he had smoke coming out of the stack, and it's like, nah, can't be. But yeah, no, it was the real thing. There was some show going on down here, and they actually had the Thomas the Tank put on a truck chassis. Geez, they done it well. They did it well. Even the eyes moved a whole lot. The mouth moved. Man, they went all out.
On these models, the eyes move on them too.
Yeah, those ones do. I can only count to 10. I only got 10 fingers. And I can't count because I've got the socks on.
The the story behind these three, and then there's a fourth engine. I've got Emily too. The big wheel steam engine. These were the trains that my niece played with when she was little. So,
And now you're playing.
yeah, Thomas has got some battle scars on him, but they've held up pretty well. I was really impressed with these Bachmann Thomas the Tank Engine trains. These are really, really good running engines.
One of the guys in one of the clubs down here, the Wollongong Illawarra Railway Society, one of the founding members, they actually did an Australian cousin of that fell into the Thomas the Tank series.
This is an Aussie Thomas the Tank.
Oh, that's cool.
I just had a knock on the door, and I've just sold one of my drum kits, so I'm all cashed up to go to the train shop now.
Oh, cool! What are you buying me, mate?
No, this is probably the world's most expensive Thomas, because inside it has a Locksound micro decoder. So what I did is I made my own sound file to go in it. I got a DVD of Thomas the Tank Engine, and I sampled the whistle. So it's got the same toot toot whistle that you hear on the TV show, comes out of here. When it goes forward, it plays the Thomas the Tank Engine theme music. When it runs backwards, it plays Yakety Sax, the Benny Hill theme show. And then just to keep the kids entertained, I got the DVD and I sampled a few. It was an old DVD with Ringo doing the soundtrack, the narration. So I sampled a few sayings that Ringo did on there. So if you push F1, you hear Ringo saying, "Thomas is a 6-wheel tank engine that lives on the island of Sodor." But it's a point of ridicule in our club. It's been hijacked. It's been photographed in a vice being crushed. It's had someone running after it at a train show with a rubber mallet. Because this thing sits there all weekend playing the Thomas the Tank Engine theme tune. And every club member, when they're going home on the Sunday afternoon, for the next week, has the Thomas the Tank Engine theme tune running around in their head. So it's a much despised at train shows. But if you look down, there's the speaker down in there for the. So it's a $50 Thomas Loco with a $200 decoder in it.
And I thought I was bad at train shows when I used to have scented smoke in my steam engine, where you have the barbecue smell and KFC smell coming
Oh yeah,
out.
what is it? Proto smoke.
Yeah. Actually, that's one thing I've got to get more of when I get to the US.
So one of the things that I used to do when I was working at the hobby shop, Craig was the owner, and I would just screw with him all the time. I would get the diesel scented smoke and pour them in the steam locomotives, and the wood scented smoke and pour it in the diesels.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but I used to do it at the times where you had that wrong part. You know that period in the train show. Marty and Robin will know. You got that wrong period between lunch and dinner, and
yeah,
I think throw something in the middle of it. Just have that smoke coming up to make people hungry, and it's like, yeah, I've been told I wasn't allowed to take any steam engines any longer to train shows.
I wonder if I could use Proto Smoke in my Broadway Limited. Yeah. I don't know if I could or could not.
Yeah, I have. I haven't had any dramas with it. They're in the box there somewhere. Oh, they're in the cupboard. They're not coming out until scenery's done.
I wonder what different scents they have.
But see, they won't post it to Australia. I've got to buy it there direct and then have it. Yeah. They won't ship to Australia.
Oh, Corey. There's a guy. I'm trying to remember what his channel name is. I think it's called Train Boy. I don't know if it's a Mad Max version, but he's done like versions of Thomas that are pretty wild.
Split Rock, yes, they do. They do. I've got
Yes.
a couple of them here.
Doesn't I want to say? Dadgummit, my mind just went blank. Steve Childers uses them because he's got those smoke units in like his smokestacks on his buildings. That's what he uses to really roll that smoke out. And Luke Towan did a video not too long ago. It's right before his newest layout build series. He 3D printed a industrial smokestack and showed exactly what Sooth smoke unit he used on that, and it really, really good. So I would definitely look up Luke Towan.
I won't get it out now, but yes, I do like it. I have got a couple of smoke units that I'm going to do later on in my engine facility. Let me just write it. Oops.
So MTH has 13 different scents for their proto smoke, but it does not say what their scents are.
Okay,
that's something.
What I'm going to do is in my Laco facility, around about there, I've actually got a pit which is basically a washdown area for the steam engines and an ash pit. And what I want to do is because they do come in different. That's my computer. They do make various different size smoke units, and what I would like to do is I'd actually like to put a smoke unit in there, so when the train comes in there, push the button, it actually activates the smoke, and it looks like there's actually steam and whatnot coming out from underneath the pit from when the engine's been serviced before he goes in the roundhouse or gets spun around and heads back up the line. I do have. I think I've got 4 smoke units, and it's packed away at the moment, which I'm going to use in certain stacks and various other locations in the layout. That will come down probably sometime next year when I install them.
Yeah, Split Rock, I'm going to see if I can find it for you real quick. Yeah, he did that video not too.
Yeah. But I also use those smoke units in the earlier Athens steam engines.
All right, there you go, Split Rock. All right, so I found a couple of scents on Amazon. You can get vanilla, candy cane, cinnamon roll, Christmas, which I would assume would be like pine tree. And then I think this is one that you're probably thinking is barbecue. It's hickory wood.
Yep.
Which that's what I use when I smoke my pork butts and pork ribs.
No, they did. They actually did have one. They did actually have one there where there was a barbecue, a proper barbecue. I mean, you can't beat like Marty and Robin can vouch for this. Like when you go into the Bunnings store and you get smell that sausages and onions. Being cooked on a barbecue plate.
Yeah.
There's also a 5-volt version as well.
Lionel, I think, has bacon and egg, scented smoked fluid. I've got the hot chocolate version.
Design tool to help print the component.
Yep, somebody's watching that video I just posted.
Not me.
Oh, it was Thomas.
Probably.
I've
Okay.
actually had.
I do know that Proto Smoke, it's MTH. They do have a diesel exhaust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scent. They have, as far as like the steam locomotives, they have wood burning, coal burning, and oil burning.
Yeah.
They also have unscented. I have smelled the Christmas tree one, and it's pretty stout.
Does it smell
Especially
like Rick?
I've never smelt Rick. I've never smelt Rick, so I don't know.
I'm not sure I like where this is going.
I just gotta. I'll be right back.
I mean, I've smelt a few of his relatives after I got done putting them under the chopping saw, but
Oh,
pretty piney. I put it that way.
I did.
That was Jason the Train Freak that said that. That was not me.
No, me and Rick, we got a good friendship on those jokes there. He knows I
Yeah.
can do that behind his back. Especially since I'm building a humongous sawmill on my layout in his honor or memory, whatever you want to put on that one.
That video you did with all the cutouts of Rick was epic.
Oh yeah, my trick or treat video.
Yeah,
I think that was 2021. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was in 2021 because let's see here. We started STS in 2020. Rick joined us in 21. So I did that as a trick or treat. And then the funny thing is when I sent him his Sidetrack Sunday car, because I did the decals that year, it was the wood chip hoppers. I actually sent Rick all of the things of himself that I had on my layout. I put it in the box with his card. So yeah, all the cutouts went to Rick.
What do you model, Train Freak?
So I am modeling the St. Louis Southwestern Railroad, or formerly known as the Cotton Belt, in the year of 1958. So it's that transition era between steam, early diesel, which by that time Cotton Belt pretty much did away with all their steam. They were one of the first railroads to go full diesel. But I call my layout the Delta Pine subdivision. It's roughly size-wise 20 by 15, double level. It's still in construction.
Wow. And you mentioned the timber mill. Have you got that on your channel that you're building it, or so is it like an old-fashioned type of timber mill or more modern?
It's going to have the log pond, where it actually would have logs come down via log flume, or they could be dropped off by rail into the pond or straight onto the conveyor, depending on how the logs come in. They could be either full-size logs for the length of the flat cars or the logging cars, or they could be what we call pulpwood, which is smaller logs that are the length of the width of the car, and they stack them up like, I don't know how many you would get on there. But Rick, we call him Rick the Tree for a reason, because one, he's tall as a tree, but when he joined us for Sidetrack Sunday, when we created it in 2020, for our holiday show, he actually had a Christmas tree hoodie, so the name just stuck with him. So,
and it had functioning lights too, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it was a necklace. It was a necklace that he had, because I had that same one.
Can I just ask if you have like a plan or something that you work from for your timber mill? Because I'm trying to help a guy at the moment. He's building a very small little timber layout, and we've just been trying to find pictures on the internet and stuff to work from.
I don't have an actual a written plan per se. I could easily draw something out, but the kits that I'm using is actually based off of a timber mill in Oregon. I think it's either Oregon or Washington, up in the Cascades,
Oh, okay.
and it's still operated on steam to this day. It's the last steam operating sawmill in the world.
Whereabouts is this guy at, Robin?
Oh, Ralph comes over here every 2 weeks or so, and we've been working on it.
Is that the guy up at Gympie?
No, he's local. We drew up a plan for him, and he's built. He's got the baseboard ready and everything like that. But he wanted to do a timber train, so we sort of.
Oh yeah, there's all the ricked trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a classic. That was an absolute classic. Yeah.
All right. I'll show you. Now I got to go back like 3 years to find what I'm currently working on. Or 2 years.
It's good sport, he is. Well,
he is.
Yeah.
He is. Like at the moment, he's been going out, the Big Pecker, where he's taking Rita at the Big Pecker. I see he had I see he's going to get a glass of milk, but I think it's more like milkshakes than glass of milk.
Yeah, over at Big Peckers.
He's gone to Big Peckers, and then he's gone to Hooters for milkshake.
Yeah. I think that's Ray that's doing that. Or Rick's going down there with Ray or something.
Lunch.
Okay, where is it at?
Which one are you after? His Christmas show?
No, I'm looking for a picture that I put on that I have of the sawmill complex.
Oh. Depends on how big you want to do it, though, Robin.
Here it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really big because it's a small layout.
Okay, so Robin, you got to understand that this is still in construction, so there's like hardly any scenery.
That's okay.
But that's it.
Oh wow, well, that's quite big.
Yeah. So that little building, that's the Buller House. That's going to be inactive. This is the planning shed or planning mill. That is the shed where the finished logs are put at. Loading dock behind the box car. This is the sawdust TP burner. And then this whole conglomerate over here, this is the actual main sawmill. That's the debarker. And then, of course, the, the wood chipper and everything. Oh, I got a Thomas Frosty notification.
Uh-oh. What's they want?
This is what the pulpwood cars look like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They weren't that common up here, but they were very common down in Victoria.
Oh, here's a better view.
Particularly on the Albus line.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But you can see over here on this end where I'm putting my pond. But this is the pulpwood cars, and then this here is the wood chip cars to be hauled off with wood chips.
Yeah, that's something I still got to work out in my layout where I'm going to put all the.
Yeah, I mean, this is still all a progress, and I haven't even got to the plaster part yet.
No, well, I don't know. To kick off with, I'm just going to get the main line going, and then I'm going to work out where I can fit the industries in. Because I do know I need I would like a working coal mine there somewhere. And well, the other thing I want to do is I want to try to salvage Randall's Run and put on the main section. Because I really don't have any room where I can safely store it. Like I want to put this on the I'll just take you down. I want to put this on the main through run, but it's going to be a through run station instead of a branch line station.
Uh,
And it's only held down by 2, 4, 6, 8 screws on the current spot.
So how did you do the sheep run? Is it a sheep run or a cattle run?
Both.
Okay.
Now that is a kit bashed lifelike kits.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't even know there was a kit available for it.
What I'd done was I made the pen smaller so it would actually fit on that spot.
Right.
And I, as you see, I rearranged it where you can load up on the train or load up the truck. The trucks will drive up next to it, using Australian cattle trucks.
Yeah.
Because if I would have gone with the normal size bullet, the lifelike kit, it would have been halfway out on the road.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll kit bash that big time.
We've got a steam operated sawmill here in Queensland, which has been operating until just recently. It's now been temporarily closed, but it's heritage listed. They use an old locomotive boiler to run the saw. And Ralph and I were thinking about going up there to get some photos, but it's not open anymore now.
There was a sawmill in Gympie, just as you come into Gympie, on the right hand side, on the side of the hill. I don't know if it's still there or not. There was a little sawmill there. Just on the edge of town, after you pass the Matildas Roadhouse, that's on your left, probably about 4 or 5 k's up the road from that on the right hand side. Geez, that looks good.
yeah. The fun part is going to be piping all the buildings together.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of my hand-built turnouts, too.
Oh, you're just showing off now.
He is a show off. But I mean,
No, if I'm going to show off, I got to show off one picture and one picture only.
Now you've done it, Robin, haven't you?
It's just one picture. Okay, this one here.
He's going to show everybody he's got the biggest one out of them all. Yeah.
Oh, I like that livery.
This one actually, this picture here actually got put in a national magazine.
That's a great photo of that.
Is that on your layout?
That's on his layout,
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So do you make the trees in the background or you buy them?
I make them. I wanted them to put this one in to make it more time specific, but they wouldn't do it.
No, the colour one.
I was like,
livery. God, gee, that's nice.
and that was actually before I put the trees in.
Yeah.
Well, I do have another. I have another photo here. It'd take me a second to find it. You can put me down if you want to, Artie, because it might take me a minute to find it. Nope, I just found it as soon as he did it. This is after I did the trees, and this is not my locomotive. It was one of my customers.
Oh, yeah. Goodness.
That is the exact same spot, but at a different angle.
You know one thing about taking photos of your layout that I've noticed?
You got to have one?
Yeah, that too. But the mistakes that you make, you spot all the mistakes that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Sandwich.
Now, Marty was serving up lunch, but he's taken it out. He's gutsed it all up.
Well,
Well, I was going to say,
Oh, there
I've
he
done
is.
some scratch building here in 1-to-1 scale.
Uh,
I've made a scale, a 1-to-1 scale ham, cheese, and tomato toasted sandwich, and it was
yeah.
scratch built.
Oh, you can't
I
beat a
believe
good
it.
ham and cheese sandwich.
I see you weathered it too.
Are you
Yeah,
putting a
It's in
sound
the weathering
decoder in that?
machine.
So what sound decoder are you putting in it, Marty?
Sorry, a sound decoder.
Oink,
Yeah.
oink, 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 oink.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Oh wow.
Oh, look at that.
So I actually got done putting sound in these yesterday.
Is that a cotton belt one again, or is that a different one? I can't.
Yeah,
read
it is a cotton belt.
Needs more rivet. It's a bit blurry,
Wow.
but wow. Needs more rivets.
Now the number board here, the number board, you can barely see it. It's all rivets, reflective rivets. But yeah, I just uploaded a YouTube short on that one today.
Did you?
All four engines have sound.
Yeah. You can get his YouTube page, Robin. If I haven't sent it to you already.
I'm sorry, mate. What'd you say?
I said I'll give you, if you haven't got Jason's YouTube channel, I'll throw it over to you later.
Yeah, please. That'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got some good content.
I like to see progress of people's layout and stuff.
Yeah, even though he's been bludgeoned for a while, it hasn't done nothing to it. It's given me the opportunity to catch up.
Hey, listen,
Man, I haven't had a chance
I've
to.
got that record.
Oops. That's Rick Thomas.
Do they get it?
Oh.
Thomas got so dizzy he fell over.
Yeah, I feel dizzy. I feel dizzy.
Where's Thomas? He's
No
shooting
Thomases
caramel
were heard in
yards.
the production of this live stream.
No, that
We'll blame it on Toby.
Yeah, it was
It's all Toby's fault.
He spiked Thomas's drinks. Is it a math quiz?
Split Rock wants to know if it's math quiz time. Yeah, Split Rock, you got to count. You got to count the cars that the 4 locomotives pulled on my YouTube short.
Oh.
Speaking of
1 plus 1 equals a window.
Speaking of pulling power on these on locomotives, out of the 4 Thomas the tank engine locomotives I have, the one called Emily is the one that pulls the worst. It cannot pull more than the 2 coaches that I have with it.
Really?
Yes. If you put any more on it, it literally can't pull the train.
And we've got the sky shunters working, and then sky operations going on in here with the sky crane as well. Well, it was going.
Now, what number car is that yellow one, Thomas? I don't know if he's got his ears on. No, I'm talking about the ore car, the yellow one.
Oh, hang on a second here. I'm behind. The
Oh,
yellow.
you picked up a yellow one.
Yeah, he's got a yellow ore
I think
car.
it's the third one in the middle track, Thomas.
So I have 3 of these. And so this was the first load of iron ore from the Elizabeth mine.
Okay.
And the 702, Elizabeth is my daughter. So that's her birthday, was July 7th.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So I've got one for my wife, and that's her birthday. And then I've got the first load to the dock, and that's my anniversary. So that's how I remember things.
Now see what
Ah,
Thomas and see what Thomas is not telling you, but he's got one ore car that only carries green ore, and that's car number 420.
Yes.
See?
green
Is
ore.
that Thomas? Is that little knob on the top of the load? Is that so that you can run them empty or full?
What are we looking at? Which one?
On all
She's
the
talking
all
about the
buckets.
bobby pins.
Oh, is that what
Oh,
it
the
is?
pins. Yeah, the pins denote the grade of iron ore.
Oh,
The only
okay.
paperwork I have.
I thought it might have been so you can take the load out and run them
Yeah,
empty.
they come out. So we'd have a boat. And this is how you load a boat. Black, white, yellow, green, orange interchange.
Oh, okay.
Then I make a card that tells the yardmaster what to shove, what track and where. Because they sorted the ore, but the ore comes out when it gets to the dock.
Cool.
The little pins.
Oh, that's all it is.
And then I use this thing called an ore plucker. It's got magnets.
Yep.
Tortoise wire in there.
Oh man,
There's
that's
steel at the
amazing.
bottom of the loads.
Oh, that's cool.
That is
So when they
really,
get
really
to the
cool.
dock, I remove them. And when they
Wow.
empty at the mines, I refill them.
Because I've just made a whole heap of coal wagons, and I've done some empty, and I've done another lot with load in them. But this would have been a much better idea.
I'll tell you the trick though. You need, if you make a magnet, make sure you have this in there. Because if you just use the magnet to pull loads out, you'll derail the car because the loads will go all over.
Okay.
You know, it'll pull it side to side.
And that boat that you had, is that one of the like Great Lakes boats, the really long ones?
Yes, I've got one. Actually, I just put it out. Put out my Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, the most famous one of all.
Yeah, Anthony was here. It's called the Toledo Express. But now I have the one.
Not that Edmund Fitzgerald or something, is it? Oh goodness, look at the size of that thing. Wow. Oh, they're so long.
That is-
aren't they?
That is the Edmund Fitzgerald.
I've just been watching some videos about these. I can't get over the length of the boat. It's just amazing.
This isn't even to scale. I wish it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I like to see. You know what he needs there, Robin? And Marty will agree with me on this one here. He needs to have a spot in the room where he can load the Iron Pacific up.
Oh, yeah. So have you scratch built that, Thomas?
No, this was built by a friend of mine in Michigan. It's entirely made of wood.
Oh, okay.
It's carved wood with details. But here
Wow.
you can see if I can zoom in on the dock. So there's the
Gee,
boat
that's
we
a lot
just
of work,
loaded
isn't it?
last session. And then tomorrow morning we're going to load this one.
See, iron ore is the same as coal. You got different types and different grades for different purposes.
Yep.
And you can't mix any coals together. Coal, when you're making cake, you've got certain coals that can only go with certain seams within another seam to make a certain type of cake as well. Because I remember some guys used to get in trouble when they used to go to sweep on the side of the road and when we used to go up on top of the drift and dump the coal down the chute when it was actually from the wrong mine. Oy.
Yeah, that's 3D printed.
That's a little photo booth.
Yeah, my old photo mat, because I'm 1969. So
Ah,
just got to paint it up.
oh, wow. I like all the red dust that's got in between all the tracks. That looks quite realistic, hey?
Yeah. Well, everything turns red.
Sort of reminds me of photos that you see of the Pilbara here in Australia where everything's red.
Actually, down the wharf behind the K Ovens there, Robin, where the Iron Pacific and that and Iron Canada come in, near the BOS, it's all like that too. It's all red.
Gee.
So
It's
here's
not as
my
bad
running
now.
joke. See if I can zoom in here. That guy's falling over. So I have a gentleman's club here. It's called Moe's. And what I do is the sign is removable. Okay. So the sign comes out. And whoever comes to operate, I always put their wife's name on there.
Oh, no.
So,
Real?
so I've got, all sorts of my operators, who's ever coming to operate, I was just put their wife's name on there to see if they notice.
I wonder if, I wonder if their wives ever saw that.
Oh, they do. Everybody takes a picture. And they're
So how many divorces are there in your group?
So I'm making a new one for the guys tomorrow. If the kids are down here, I'm making a fish fry sign. So.
On my layout, I had a hairdresser and a jeweler's, and
I've
then
got
someone says, "Oh, typical woman. Look at all the bloody shops. Not one hobby shop amongst them."
For 1969, I'm
Hey, Pablo, how are you, buddy? Welcome.
Buster Brown shoes. And I got a Furrier and then the Kodak shop.
See,
Is that one of those?
amazing. So this is where it's going to be challenging for me, trying to integrate American and Australian buildings together to look right, so it's not going to be out of place.
Oh,
So it's a
wow.
model both.
What
Trying to
type
get-
of buildings are your Australian type?
We've got a big mix here. We've got a huge mix here.
A lot of colonial style buildings
Like-
initially, but
Yeah, put a veranda out the front and tint and a wrought iron roof, and it's Australian.
Pretty much.
There you go.
But I mean, I have seen buildings in certain parts of the United States that are similar ones that we have here and whatnot. Particularly when it comes into the 70s era, like what I'm doing, there are some similarities in buildings, particularly in the city scenes. But one big difference between American and Australian town scenes and whatnot, we have more canopies over the footpaths than what they have in the United States. But when they have a look at
Something to keep in mind, Artie, is it depends on what part of the United States you're comparing
that's
with.
correct. That's correct. Like I'm doing more around in Spartanburg and in the South Carolina, like in and around the Appalachian Mountains area on the foothills there. And I have noticed, like going for my drives and that, there are locations that have similarities. Some of the buildings do have similarities to what we call commission houses, or what you would call government housings.
Right.
So it can be done. It can be done. When I look at some of the old buildings, the city buildings that we have in town here are very similar to some of the old buildings we used to have in Spartanburg. So it's still spinning around in circles. So I can blend some of them in together. Modern buildings.
Just got to use your imagination, Artie. And do what Thomas did. Just have signs that come off
Yeah.
and change them.
Now you can do that.
So
Yeah.
that's the
Thank you very much, Pablo. Happy you enjoy it. I want to have some sort of reality. Maybe I'll just have an Australian scene, one location. Like Randall's Run is more of a. I stick that more to the Australian theme, to one of the places where I normally used to stop and have my breaks at, and it's called Dunedoo, just west of here, on the other side of the mountain. It's a truck-friendly town, let's put it this way, where we have a rail line going there, the big wheat silos, and I want to create how I feel about the Dunedoo, how it used to look, not so much now. With the old station, the station up that's on it is very similar to what's on the Dunedoo station platform. It doesn't get regular passenger trains now. It only gets one or two passenger trains a day now. The city, well, it's going to be a mixture of United States and Australian skyscrapers, the older skyscrapers, because they weren't so tall. Because I don't want to go over high with me heights. I have found a background for the top scene, which I'm going to get ordered in the next few weeks. It's not going to get here in time before my surgery. I was hoping to get that before my surgery, but I can't see it happening.
You recognise that, Artie?
Let me bring you up.
So I've just ordered one of them.
Yeah, I carted out of that place. Carted in and out of that place.
I've done an Arduino that'll make the clock run off the flask clock. So up the top is a clock, and it used to flash between the time and the temperature.
Yeah.
And so I've done an Arduino that'll change the LEDs to be either the fast clock out of JMRI or the real-time clock. And the temperature you can select to either be the temperature in the room or the temperature outside.
Wow. So one thing, if you're going to do this is something I just wanted to pick your brain on, per se. If you use the fast clock out of JMRI, are you also going to sync your layout lighting with that fast clock as well?
Yeah, lighting, the room lighting, there's LEDs in here as well as the fluorescent lights that are on now. But the room lighting comes straight up, it runs into a DMX unit, which then runs the LEDs through a nighttime, daytime, according to the fast clock, and depending on what the time of year is as well. So all the buildings that I build and put in the layout have all got their own Arduinos in them, and all got their own LDR sensor, so it can sense the light level in the room. So every time you dim the room, all the lights come on in the buildings in different orders. And then there's animation in the lighting as well. So like in the houses, at the evening, the lounge room lights will come on, and then afterwards the bedroom lights will go on, and the others will go off, and then about 10 o'clock they all go off. But this sign, it's not neon, it's all just incandescent globes. So I'm using 0.0206 LEDs to do the globes, and they scale to about the correct size for the actual globe.
Yeah, because those signs are actually got light globes in them. They weren't actually neon or fluorescent lights.
Yeah, so it'll have LEDs. That's why there's, I think there was 26 LEDs in the clock segment alone.
So have you So you ordered that kit, or did you make that?
I've ordered the kit. It comes from Mars Models. It's 3D printed, and it comes with the billboards on the other side as well. The angled billboard.
Has he got the road loading dock on the side of it?
Nah, don't think so.
Mother,
Nah.
you got to have that.
So it's going to be part of. I'm going to do the Kensington Flour Mill because that's a good little shunting operation on the layout. But this is going to be over on the other corner where the freeway with the southeastern, because that ran right past the southeastern freeway, went right next to it. So I've got that, and I've got a little Tudor building which I'm going to do as the Riverside Hotel.
And about 900 metres east of this building is where I hit that railway bridge with the truck.
But,
and ripped the roof off my truck clean off it. It wasn't my fault. They resurfaced the road, and they didn't mill off the old one. Now, what this is, you want to explain? Tell them what this building is, because it's not what it says it is.
Well, it's a grain silo for what was it? Barley and hops for the breweries.
Yes,
and
they were the biggest suppliers for the hops and barley for Carlton United, and what's the other one that does the Tuies?
So I've got this one, and the other one I'm working on is the Skipping Girl vinegar one.
So you're not going to model the whole facility; you're just going to put the structure in.
No, I'm putting this is going in over on one part of the city. So
okay, but are you going to model the whole complex or not?
No.
No. Okay.
It's just going to be positioned so it looks like it's off in the distance.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, because you got the southeastern freeway and that running right next to it. So I'll do a bit of that, and then it'll be like the freeway will disappear behind it. But the other one's the Skipping Girl vinegar one, which I'm actually, the guy at Miller Engineering's actually thinking about actually doing it as one of those animated neon signs. But but if not, there is a 3D printed kit you can get. It's in wood, actually. It's not in plastic. Of the frame and of the actual sign. So maybe with a bit of ingenuity, we can maybe animate that one.
I tell you what, that was one place. It was a bugger to get into to get the load from, just to back into the loading dock, and it was the only part of the city where we were able to get away with by the cops from hitting cars or whatnot, and people weren't getting hit. I actually went and ran over the top of one guy. He illegally parked, and I ran over the top of his car. He didn't want to move it, so couldn't stay in there. Where we had to get the cops out.
The other.
Because Carlton United was only up the road from him, but geez, it was a muggle spot to get into. Especially when you come off the southeastern freeway. Because you had no lights across.
That was the other kit. That's another kit he's got. Princess Bridge.
Oh, wow.
With the lights and everything.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So that was Princess Bridge. It came up to Flinders Street Station in Melbourne, down from St Kilda Road.
Yeah.
But
crossed that many times.
He's got some trams, but they're too new for me.
Yeah, I saw that site, but I lost it now. Just
So
looking
I've
at
got
this,
there's another one called Tram World, and he
excellent.
does. I've got a kit of his here at the moment, and it takes a Bowser mechanism, and it's a Z1 Melbourne tram.
Yeah.
So, which is the front of one of these. This is the B2 class, which was just a Z1 with the trailer added.
I would like, if I had the room, I would like to get a couple of the old Melbourne W's running.
Yeah,
around
well, he
here.
does some W's as well. Let's see if I can find his site. Should I save it?
Well, while he's looking that up, I hate to run, but I need to get. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna
Artie,
get
I just
done.
want to say thanks for letting me on. Enjoy.
Mate, you're always welcome, mate. It's nice seeing you. Last time I just worked it out. Last time you popped on is when I done my 24-hour stream.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Have a good
Yeah,
night, Jason.
Have a good
All right,
night.
and
Say
it's-
hello to the family. Don't be a stranger.
See you later.
absolutely. And Robin, Marty, it was good meeting y'all.
Yeah, and you too.
Are you going to Grapevine?
No, I will be at the train show in Central Arkansas that weekend, and I've got 2 tables. So I won't be in Grapevine. I'll be preparing for that train show. But
Oh well.
our
You
train
never know,
show
you
is on the it's on the 27th and 28th
Oh,
that
you never know.
weekend.
We
So
might be up there. See what happens.
yeah,
You're
if
gonna,
you come up, yeah, you'll easily find me if you come up because I'm probably going to be one of the only ones that's got a long beard. So
I'm growing
yeah.
mine back. Yeah.
Artie's getting jealous.
Yep. I miss
All
my
right,
beard.
guys.
Miss my beard.
All right.
So yeah.
See you,
Well, y'all
Jason.
take care, and I will see y'all next time.
See you,
Okay.
All right,
Jason.
see you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
That's a colour scheme I remember.
So that's the 3D printed kits that he does at the A1 class. So I've got myself a few sets of those Bowser operating trolley poles because they
Yeah.
got the spring mechanism and everything in them. It makes them, they're just beautiful little things. So I've got a set of those to go on it. And I've got he makes a base that you can put the Bowser trolley mechanism in and then motorize them. So
Cool.
I've got LEDs, I've got indicators, brake lights, headlights done for both sides, and using one of those TCS M1 decoders that are made for trams. So
Now there's only 2 things you're going to need for it. One is operating doors, and secondly, you need Melbourneites in the carriages picking their nose.
well, the operating doors have been thought about. So you could make the doors out of styrene and make them fold up, and then put a lateral servo just up in the roof, and it would make the doors open and close. So watch out, you never know.
Well, as I said before earlier on when I was talking, when Anthony was here, like the European model of Roco, they actually did do a whole heap of series of carriages and whatnot with the doors actually opening.
Yeah.
So it's already out there.
There's some interesting things going to happen, I think, in the next 5-6 years in the hobby with the way decoders work with animation. Instead of having a decoder you've got a motor drive output, then a couple of switched outputs to turn lights on and off. You'll end up having a one wire, like a CAN bus network. And then when you buy a loco like these ones that are coming out of Germany, these cranes and all the rest of it, you'll have all the electronics that runs the actual crane on there, and the decoder will just talk over a network connection to tell it what to do when you command it, which means the wiring will be so much simpler. That's the basis for these 21-pin decoders that are coming out of Europe now. But the network will just be like an IC squared network, that just one pin that comes out the decoder. So you'll end up with less wiring.
Yeah.
But your loco itself will have a motherboard in it, and that motherboard will drive all like the lighting functions and operating fans and all these other sort of things. And then when you put the decoder in, it's just a matter of plugging it in. You don't have to wire up all these other items.
That'll make life a lot easier. Well, okay then. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also going to call it quits. I can't believe it's gone to 4 hours. I'm only going to do a short
What,
video.
you're knocking off early? I thought you were doing a 9-hour jobby tonight.
No.
That's why I went and got my lunch and got some sustenance, because I thought Artie's doing another 9-hour spectacular.
No, not this time. I've got to go and change those curves at the far end there. At least that way this is going to be done, because I was doing some switching. With my Union Pacific cars here last night, and the inner radius is just a little bit tight to do some switching. So I've got to I'm going to change those radiuses so I don't have the derailments, particularly when I'm pushing. When it's pulling, it's not a problem, but I need to change that radius. So I want to do that today, because at least that way it's finished. And when I start doing this main section on Tuesday afternoon, I don't have to worry about this anymore. This is done, apart from the signaling. Thomas, it's again fantastic having you up in here. You're a great guy. Randall, you too. You're the same.
Appreciate it, Artie.
Marty, it's nice to see you in here. You'll be
Marty's
going.
a pain in the ass.
Yeah, well, Marty and Robin are from a backward state of Queensland. Well, great having you two up in here as well.
Look, me and the gang is saying goodbye.
Yeah.
See, I love your layout.
Marty's got his own boy band.
Yeah. Oh, it's a mini me man.
No, the layout's never done, but at least he's got some sort of operation.
We'll be like that Texaco Haviland commercial where the band progressively gets older. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
Yeah, and guys, thank you very much for supporting, coming in the channel, all the ones that are in the chat. I will see you guys again. Hey, Nancy, you're a bit late. We're just about to go. Oh, you're saying good night. So we'll see you guys during the week. I won't be much on channel this week. I might be on a bit of the Sidetrack Sunday tomorrow. That's on Nissy's channel this week. Is that right, Thomas, I think, or Randall?
I think Nissy's done it this week. Seemed like I heard Rainbow Bell mention that.
Yeah. Sparky, it was great having you in it. You're going to have to come up here one time, babe. You can't keep lurking about and hiding in the background there forever.
Yeah.
You're going to have to start showing your face up in here. We want to see what you've been up to. So next week, you're up in here.
He's a bit of a lurker.
Yeah, I know. He's a spy. A Canadian spy. But it's all right. Our Aussie girls are going to kick the Canadian girls tonight. It's Australia against Canada tonight with the ladies World Cup.
That's right, yeah.
So, everybody, please stay safe.
Artie, thank you.
Have fun. And we'll see you all next weekend.
See you guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay out.